What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 12 WI, Chapter 281, Magician Competition. The two old men didn't come to harass Zhang Yang anymore, they just asked the two strong men to stand guard at the door. During this period, no matter whether it was food or drink, as long as Zhang Yang asked, those people would definitely accommodate them. This made Zhang Yang wonder what kind of medicine these people were selling in their gourds. Could it be that they were planning to provide for themselves? After teasing himself a little, Zhang Yang gave a smirk and started to read some books. The stacked books next to him are at least as tall as a person. These are some basic theories that Zhang Yang asked to read, so that he can understand the world. Indeed, from it he gained most of the knowledge in this world. It turns out that this continent is called the Magic Continent, where you are almost innately able to perceive the power of magic, and absorb free magic factors from the air, in order to become. 93. Magician. The elements of magic are divided into the most basic metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind and thunder. Of course, there are still some derived magical attributes that are very rare, so I don't make too many records. The people here are almost all magician apprentices at the beginning of their cultivation, which is divided into 10 stages in total. Then upgrade to a magician, which is also divided into 10 stages, and then upgrade to a magister. Then upgrade to archmage. In short, the road to magic cultivation is very long, and the upper limit is also very high. The people who tried to attack Zhang Yang before were two magicians from the 3rd Street, and they were considered the leading magicians in Qingshan town. Because in this barren land, there are very few people who can become magicians, not to mention that they have to practice again and break through the stage of magician apprenticeship, which is even rarer. Zhang Yang understood almost everything, but his strength cannot be measured by the strength of this world. If he hadn't been swallowed up in the space crack before, Zhang Yang is confident that he will be able to thrive in this world. But now, he also had to temporarily lower his head to delve into the history of this space. Perhaps in this, to change the title, Space Magic. In all the classics, Zhang Yang didn't see any records about space magic, which seems to be a kind of magic that everyone doesn't know. But that's not surprising, after all, the power of space is one of the original powers. Zhang Yang, the president of our Magician Association welcomes you. The strong man pushed open the door and said. These days, Zhang Yang has gotten acquainted with these two strong men, and he also knows that the blue-robed old man is the president of the Magicians Association in Qingshan town, Rhodes. And the old man in the green robe is the vice president of the Magician Association, Wang Qing. As for the two strong men, they are their two guards, also called knights. In fact, in this world, besides magicians, there is another branch of the system. Is the knight. A knight is an ability achieved by physical exercise for people who cannot feel magical energy. The same is divided into knight apprentices, knights, crusader knights, templar knights, etc. Similarly, each knight is divided into 10 stages. The two strong men guarding Zhang Yang are knight apprentices, and their abilities are not very strong. After Zhang Yang heard this, he replied briefly, then packed up his clothes and headed to the local demon society. The Mage Association is located in Qingshan town, the tallest, majestic and magnificent building deep in the bustling streets is the local Mage Association. Zhang Yang walked to the Magicians Association without anyone else leading the way, opened the door, and President Rhodes was already waiting in the middle of the hall. He is still wearing a water blue mage robe, and it is not difficult to see that he should be a water-type mage. Sure enough, President Rhodes smiled when he saw Zhang Yang, stepped forward and gave Zhang Yang a warm hug, and then said, "Little brother, you really kept me waiting. Let me introduce myself. I am a local magician. The president of the association, Water Magician Rhodes." This old man may be due to the water system, so the aura exuding from his body is a bit gentle, which makes Zhang Yang feel a little good. Zhang Yang bowed lightly, and said, "Hi, let me introduce formally, my name is Zhang Yang. I saw it before, your ability is really beyond our expectations." President Rhodes took out a badge from his robe while speaking, with the logo of the Association of Magicians printed on it. "This is our proof as a magician, you take it." Rhodes still hasn't figured out what the attributes of Zhang Yang are, but he can feel that this person's strength is definitely not inferior to his, and it is very powerful. But from the looks of it, he should have something to hide. If I can pull him into the Association of Magicians, then many things will be much easier to handle afterwards. Zhang Yang didn't think of Rhodes' thoughts so much, so he directly reached out to catch the badge. After all, this is a sign. It's not bad to have a place to rely on as a newcomer. Is there anything else? Zhang Yang asked. President Rhodes said with a smile, "No, that's all." "Then I have a question for you." Zhang Yang shrugged and said, "What is the most powerful magic attribute here?" Rhodes pondered for a while, and then said, "There is no most powerful attribute, all magic is mutually generated and restrained, and they all have great effects." "Well, 3 days later, there will be a magician competition, are you interested?" Rhodes suddenly had an idea. He didn't think of this at first, but since Zhang Yang brought it up first, it's okay for him to say it along the way. Magician competition. Zhang Yang was a little puzzled, what is that? Although I don't know much about it, Zhang Yang is new here and wants to join in the fun so that he can understand the world more clearly and quickly. This is a competition jointly organized by several nearby towns, and each of our magician associations must participate. Rhodes smiled, the reward for the champion is very rich, think about it. Zhang Yang's current physical age should be around 18 years old due to the turbulence in space. It's no wonder that Rhodes is so fond of him. He is an old man in his 50s and 60s, and he has barely cultivated to the level of a third-level magician. And the young man who is only 18 years old in front of him can stand shoulder to shoulder with him, so the champion of this competition is not easy to catch. Don't think about it, I will participate. Zhang Yang responded with a smile. This magician competition is only for juniors to participate. No wonder Rhodes went around such a big circle to tell himself this matter. Chapter 282, Blackie. The competition is still 3 days away, so Zhang Yang plans to take a look around during this time, and find out if there are any special places nearby where he can practice more quickly. In fact, his space magic is substantially higher than his attribute magic in this world. It is really not an easy task to find a place suitable for cultivation and with sufficient elements. What's more, after understanding, Qingshan Town is just a small border town, and the most powerful president of the Magicians Association here, Rhodes, is only a third-level magician. Although the level is not very low, it is not very good. Even so, Zhang Yang went out. There are several rivers and several mountains around Qingshan Town. Although Zhang Yang's other abilities were dissipated by the space crack, the soul power as the original ability is quite sufficient, and he can even assert that there is no soul power in this world that is stronger than him. After all, here, he is the only one who masters space magic, and his soul has been tempered by space cracks. Therefore, Zhang Yang's soul perception is very strong, so just after he left Qingshan Town, he sensed a few breaths in the mountains behind 07 that were suitable for him to absorb. It just so happens that this time can also be used to master space magic well, so as not to show timidity in the competition. If you are a magician, you don't know a single magic, but it's really a shame to open the door for a shame, it's a shame. Fortunately, Zhang Yang's comprehension ability is very good. After reading many books about magic, he recorded them all in his mind. Although there is no record about space magic in these records, any magic system will lead to the same goal in the end. Zhang Yang condensed the space magic in his body almost effortlessly, and then came to a place not far away in a flash. Space jump. Zhang Yang's eyes lit up. Is this the legendary space jump? But this distance is a bit close. Looking back, Zhang Yang made a rough estimate, and it can be about 10 meters, which is not bad enough to call a flash. According to his understanding, an authentic space jump should be able to flip through several thousand meters. It seems that there is still a long way to go. Feeling the majestic power of space in his body, Zhang Yang was very excited for a moment. He likes this feeling of gradual growth. He can gain a lot of self-confidence from a small stage, and it also adds a lot of fun to life. After all, people can't just wait for death when they are alive, but also enjoy life and everything that this world has to offer. After understanding this, Zhang Yang used the space jump again, but this time it was a little more messed up than last time. After an afternoon of hard training, Zhang Yang finally used the space jump to reach the back mountain, where he sensed. Not far away is a small cave, in which grows a very delicate-looking vine. The lines all over it are very similar to the power of space. But basically no one knows this kind of pattern, and can't feel the space power in it. At most it can be defined as thunder and lightning. Zhang Yang was overjoyed. He didn't expect to meet this treasure just after he came here. It seems that his luck is still as good as before. However, just when Zhang Yang was going to get the vine with the power of space, a tiger suddenly jumped out from the side. This tiger is very huge in size, and the hair on its body is white to black, and the imprint of the king character on its forehead is very hideous, which looks extremely terrifying. The aura emanating from his body is even more shocking. It's not hard to see that this tiger is capable of magic. Indeed, Zhang Yang was not surprised, because it was recorded in the book that humans are not the only creatures in this magical continent. On the contrary, this is an all-encompassing continent with many biological races, and spirit beasts are just one of them, which can absorb the power of magic to grow. Based on his observations, Zhang Yang can basically confirm that the strength of this tiger is around the second level, and it should have dual attributes of thunder and wind. Dual attribute, divine beast. No wonder he would stand by this vine. It seemed that it wanted to get this vine all the time, but it never got it. Zhang Yang raised a smile on his mouth, looked at the tiger, and stretched out with one hand. A spatial sharp blade flew past. The tiger's pupils constricted suddenly, and then quickly fled away, but then, it took a few steps and returned to the side of the vine. Very tomorrow, it does not want to give up. Zhang Yang could see that this tiger's strength was extraordinary, and it had wisdom beyond other spirit beasts. So he had an idea, thought about it, maybe he could accept it. With this idea in mind, things got out of hand. Zhang Yang really wanted a tool for transportation, but he had to use space to jump when he couldn't go back and forth, which was too troublesome. And can't appreciate the scenery along the way. So, when the tiger came back, Zhang Yang jumped violently and rode on the tiger's body, and the power of space in his hand pressed against the tiger's back. Instantly suppressed the tiger's own thunder and lightning power. Obviously, the tiger didn't think that this weak human would dare to fight him. And it was controlled without any room for resistance. After suppressing the tiger, Zhang Yang jumped down, and the power of space on his body formed a wave force field around him, proving his strength. The tiger took a few steps back in fright, but never dared to move forward again. Although it wanted that vine very much, nothing was more important than life. I know you are very smart. Be my pet, and I can give that to you. Zhang Yang said, and picked off the vine with the power of space. And said that it is okay to let this vine go. Although the tiger has a bit of intelligence, it is not to the point where it can understand human language, but it still feels what Zhang Yang really wants to express. So, he stretched out his front paw to touch the 467 vine in Zhang Yang's hand, and quickly retracted it back. The two big eyes were full of doubts. Zhang Yang knew that it was useless to say anything else, so he decided to take the most direct and effective method. With a push of both hands, he extracted all the pure power of space from the vine, and then pressed it on the tiger's head. While transmitting all the energy to the tiger, a master-servant contract was concluded on it. Then Zhang Yang gently touched the tiger's head. From now on, you will be called Xiao He. Although Xiao He's hair is basically white, Zhang Yang still calls him Xiao He. Perhaps, it was to commemorate someone in another world. At the same time, in the original world, the Dark Emperor sneezed, thinking that someone must be cursing himself. After Xiao He got the energy and was contracted by Zhang Yang, he had no intention of attacking at all, and he knew that Zhang Yang was very strong. Therefore, it consciously followed Zhang Yang's side, docile like a kitten. Zhang Yang was very satisfied. Although he didn't get the vine this time, he was really happy to get a dual attribute spirit beast like Xiao He. According to common sense, ordinary spirit beasts are all single attribute, and dual attribute ones are too rare. Although he accepted Xiao He, Zhang Yang didn't intend to take Xiao He back to Qingshan Town. After all, Xiao He was too big to cause troubles, so he left Xiao He and returned to Qingshan Town first. Chapter 283, Princess Yueyang. Zhang Yang is not worried about not being able to find Xiao He. After all, it has the imprint of space left by Zhang Yang on its body, and if it looks like it, it can be found at any time. Returning to the tavern room prepared by President Rhodes, Zhang Yang continued to hold the book and began to flip through it. He wanted to learn some basic magic of this world, so that he could use it during the competition. After experiencing the true meaning of survival, Zhang Yang suddenly felt that there are many wonderful things in the journey of living, so he suddenly became interested in the rewards of this competition. So he called out, "Li Guang, I want to ask you something." One of the two strong men guarding the gate was Li Guang, whose strength was around the level of a fifth-order knight apprentice. "What's your order?" Li Guang entered the door and asked. Zhang Yang brought a cup of tea and handed it up, and then asked, "I want to know what the final reward of this magic competition is." Before President Rhodes, he was a little curious, but in the end he didn't ask. Li Guang was stunned for a moment, and then replied, "Report to my lord, this time the reward is actually only one." Ever since Zhang Yang received the badge awarded by Chairman Rhodes, his status has been different. This badge has no real function, but it is a status symbol. There are only 3 badges in the Magicians Association in Qingshan Town. President Rhodes and Vice President Wang Qing have always been held by these 2 presidents. But since Zhang Yang came, there was a 3rd honorary president label. Therefore, this is why Li Guang admires Zhang Yang so much. In this world, the status of a magician is very lofty, although all people can absorb the magical energy of the air, and then advance to become a magician. But not everyone can receive the true meaning of it and become a real magician. Therefore, knights are one of the mainstream ways to advance. Whether it is civilians, clans, or the national army, knights occupy a large proportion, while magicians are relatively rare. Just one, what is it? Zhang Yang's excited heart suddenly calmed down. Rhodes said before that the rewards are very generous, how come this has changed? Li Guang finished the tea in his hand, and then said, "Indeed, there is only one, and that is the chance to become the husband-in-law of Princess Yueyang." What? Zhang Yang exclaimed in surprise. He originally thought that even if it wasn't some rare treasure, Organoderma lucidum elixir, at least it must be something worth using. What is this? What kind of husband-in-law to be, and a chance? That was so boring. Zhang Yang's excitement was instantly extinguished like being poured a basin of cold water. But since he agreed to Rhodes, there was no reason to refuse. Zhang Yang sent Li Guang away and began to study magic again. Time passed quickly, and the 3 days passed in a flash. During these 3 days, Zhang Yang was almost immersed in the ocean of magic. Although his attribute is the power of space, through exploration, he can even convert this power in himself into energy of various attributes. Although this is theoretically possible, because at present, Zhang Yang can only convert the power of space into ice magic. And the attribute of ice is also an extremely rare attribute, which can be said to be an upgraded of the water attribute. Under the leadership of Li Guang, Zhang Yang came to the venue for the first competition, which is the knockout round. In fact, the first game didn't require Zhang Yang to play, he just came to the rest area of the Qingshan Town Magic Association. Watching the young people in the middle of the arena competing with all kinds of inferior magic. Wang Qing was still dressed in a green robe, but he looked at Zhang Yang with a hint of awe in his eyes. Although his strength is not very strong, he can feel that Zhang Yang, a junior, has a power that frightens him. "Brother Zhang Yang, look at those people off the field, how do you feel?" Wang Qing's tone and attitude were very good, it didn't look like he was chatting with a junior at all. On the contrary, he was very cautious like facing his own teacher. "Well, it's nothing, it's just some simple magic." Zhang Yang didn't look at Qing, but faced the center of the arena. These people do have various attributes: gold, wood, water, fire, earth, wind and thunder. Basically all the attributes have been seen, and there are no outstanding people. After a long time, Zhang Yang came to Rhodes' side, and said angrily, "I said President Rhodes, who is this Princess Yueyang?" Zhang Yang really wanted to question this old and unscrupulous person. After hearing this, Rhodes was a little embarrassed, but he didn't apologize, and smiled maliciously. Little brother, you haven't seen Princess Yueyang. If the old man is dozens of years younger, it doesn't matter to you. Quote. Zhang Yang rolled his eyes at him and stopped talking. He didn't expect these elderly people in the magic continent to be quite open-minded. But in this way, the image of Princess Yueyang is much more mysterious. Could it be that she is a very beautiful girl? Zhang Yang pursed his lips and didn't think too much about it. Anyway, he was determined to win this championship, so let's see when the time comes and let nature take its course. The knockout round went on quickly, and the magician apprentices in Qingshan Town were still very strong. There were 12 people who were promoted, and 6 of them were from Qingshan Town. The second round is the qualifiers, and the 3 towns can each send out reserved contestants, leave the kings plus the remaining contestants in the knockout round for a big war criminals. In the end, there are 3 people left, and the rest of the finals will start. This game is actually very simple, but because the rewards have changed this time, everyone is full of energy and wants to win the championship. After all, Princess Yueyang is talented, intelligent, and very beautiful, with a seductive figure and a delicate face. If she can become his husband, even if she loses 10 years of life, there will be plenty of people. Little brother, it's time for you to participate in the second round. Chairman Rhodes pointed to the arena where many people had gathered in the center of the arena. Okay, I see, Zhang Yang replied. 14 people stood on the ring. They come from Qingshan Town, Yangxing Town, and Moonfire Town respectively. 2 of them are reserved players, in the same position as Zhang Yang, but their strength is not strong. Chapter 284 Resisting the Halo. As the competition schedule is approaching, everyone is ready in the dojo, and they are all gearing up for the next fierce competition. For Princess Yueyang, they have a high degree of attachment. After all, there is no one around here who doesn't want to kiss fangs with Princess Yueyang. And even if there is no Princess Yueyang, they still have to show their brilliance at the joint magic conference held by the 3 towns, in order to win fame and reputation. In the future, whether it is to serve the country or go out and do it alone, it will be much easier. After all, a real magician is something that all forces are vying for. Especially in wars between countries, having a powerful magician is simply more powerful than having an army of 100,000. Not much to say, everyone has already entered the arena at this time, Zhang Yang is no exception. But Zhang Yang didn't stand in the middle or look for teammates like everyone else. Because the rules of the game are that you lose if you get kicked out of the ring, it is safer to stand in the middle, so that no one will be directly disqualified because of a simple fire attack. However, because of this idea, Zhang Yang is the only person on the edge of the ring, and the others are basically in the center. As the referee blew his whistle, everyone activated their magic at this moment, and the arena shone brightly. Red, white, blue, and purple are all available, but few of them can affect Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang is also very smart at this time. Although his strength is very strong, he still does not show his strength. He kept probing around the edge of the arena, hiding his aura. No matter who attacked him, he would not fight back, and just waited quietly. It is true that this kind of melee was very intense from the very beginning, and it went straight to a fever pitch. Everyone seemed to be desperately trying to send each other off the ring. After waiting for a long time, no one noticed Zhang Yang on the edge of the ring until the people on the top of the ring were almost beaten down. In the stands, everyone was stunned. They never thought that AB********** D like Zhang Yang would be able to enter the final showdown. At this moment, apart from Zhang Yang, there are only 5 or 6 players left, and they are already fighting like hell. The magical energy stored in the body was also consumed in 7s and 88s. Compared with Zhang Yang in the state of complete victory, they were simply weak. In the stands, President Rhodes glanced at Vice President Wang Qing proudly, and said, I see, this is definitely the #1 genius in the world, maybe our Qingshan Town can take this opportunity to turn around. In fact, Chairman Rhodes has always had one wish, that is to make his hometown Qingshan famous overseas and win glory for the country. But for a long time, the magician apprentices in Qingshan Town are not very talented, including themselves are actually very low level, and they are at the bottom of the orthodox army or some clans. But after seeing Zhang Yang's strength, Chairman Rhodes' youthful ambition was once again stimulated, and he planned to win over Zhang Yang no matter how difficult it was. Wang Qing saw this, so he said earnestly, Rhodes, can't you see that Jinline is not a thing in the pool, that kid is not someone we can easily control. Quote. These 2 people seemed to be the absolute champion of Zhang Yang, so they started chatting. Rhodes said, yeah, our conventional method can't compare, but we can use other methods. Old Wang, don't you have a granddaughter, or? As soon as Rhodes finished speaking, Wang Qing was furious and went up to knock Rhodes twice. Then he said angrily, you old rascal, you persuaded your son to take my daughter, and now you want to frame your granddaughter. The relationship between Rhodes and Wang Qing is indeed the best in AHCF, Qingshan Town, because they are in-laws, and because of this, the internal stability of Qingshan Town is not comparable to that of the other 2 cities. Look, Zhang Yang will definitely be famous all over the world in the future, don't you think this is very reliable? Rhodes still insisted on his own thoughts. On the contrary, Wang Qing suddenly fell into deep thought at this moment. At this moment, he seemed to feel that Rhodes' words had some truth. While they were chatting, the second wave of fierce battles ushered in the field. At this moment, everyone noticed Zhang Yang who had been paddling on the edge of the ring. After they glanced at each other, they reached a high degree of consensus. That is, defeat Zhang Yang. They couldn't accept that this person who had been fishing in troubled waters could advance in the end, so they all gave up their previous grievances and joined hands to fight against Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang was very happy at first, he didn't want to shoot casually, after all, in this world, he just learned space magic not long ago. The ability to control the powerful power of space has not yet reached the point where he is familiar with it, so he is a little worried that he will hurt these people because of his heavy shots. That would be bad. After all, the magicians in this arena are not very old, and the youngest one is even just 17 years old. However, as everyone is targeting Zhang Yang, he can no longer keep a low profile. After all, he has become the target of public criticism. Zhang Yang, who was a little worried, suddenly sighed. It seems that his disguise has arrived. If so, let's show these magician apprentices. At this time, two magicians of the fire system around him took the lead in attacking Zhang Yang. They squeezed out two fireballs from their hands and threw them towards Zhang Yang's position. Although they were not very large, the fire attribute energy contained in them was extremely pure. It seems that their magical talents should be excellent, and it seems that they should be from Yangxing town. Although Zhang Yang didn't intend to attack, he still wanted to give those who tried to attack him a blow. Don't you all want to attack yourself collectively? Well, then I'll make an example of myself, so that you know who you can't provoke. After the two magicians launched their attacks, Zhang Yang reacted. First, he used a short space jump, teleported directly from the edge of the ring to the center, and then saw him suddenly emit a water blue halo from the center of his body. Then I saw that the two fire magicians were ejected from the ring in an instant. Immediately disqualified from the competition. That's right, this is what Zhang Yang learned from magician books before, resisting the halo. It can instantly bounce people around a very long distance. This skill is a very practical skill, although it has no attack power. Chapter 285. The Royal Academy of Magic. Although the resistance halo is not offensive, but if it is used well, it can produce wonderful effects that are completely unimaginable. For example, right now, Zhang Yang completed a perfect two-hit combo through the space jump and the resistance halo, sending the two fire magicians out of the ring almost instantly. Before the surrounding audience could even see Zhang Yang's movements clearly, he had already completed the attack. After this battle, there were still 3 or 4 magicians around. They looked at each other and looked at each other. They did not expect that Zhang Yang, who has been keeping a low profile, would have such a powerful strength. From the very beginning, they lost 2 allies. So, almost instantly, they gave up attacking Zhang Yang. After all, there are very few people on the field now, and they only need to beat 2 more people to advance to the finals. There was no need for them to take risks at this time, so they resolutely gave up attacking Zhang Yang and turned to find another target. Zhang Yang was naturally happy to be at ease. He just solved the opponent's purpose so simply to achieve this effect. Let these people be afraid, so that they will not dare to attack themselves. Sure enough, until the end of this knockout match, no one would provoke Zhang Yang again. Because they are not stupid, it can be seen that Zhang Yang is not a B***********, but he is very powerful, but he always disdains. Because their magic talent is not high, but in the course of the usual class, they will also be exposed to a theoretical knowledge. From the point of view of Zhang Yang's release of magic just now, it should be a high-level magic, and a high-level magic requires a long time to train. Therefore, Zhang Yang directly advanced to the finals, and competed with the other 2 for the husband-in-law of Princess Yueyang. Of course, getting this quota does not mean you will be able to win the favor of Princess Yueyang. After you get it, you have to go to see Princess Yueyang again, and after several tests, you will have the opportunity to become Princess Yueyang's husband-in-law. The result of the competition is of course no surprise, but the finals will be held on the second day. The master who has won the sound level quota today will have the final competition in the same position tomorrow. At night, a bright moon shines on the earth. Zhang Yang sat alone on the windowsill of the tavern, with a lot of thoughts in his mind, and he didn't know what he was thinking. At this time, a drop of water suddenly floated from outside. Zhang Yang stood up instantly, and the power of space on his body soared. But then, a figure floated from the water drops, which made Zhang Yang give up his vigilance. It turned out to be President Rhodes. Why are you looking for me in the middle of the night? Zhang Yang asked aloud, but he was a little unhappy. If he had just shot directly, the consequences would be absolutely unimaginable. President Rhodes was clear in his heart, of course he knew it, so he said awkwardly, I wanted to make a joke with you, but I didn't expect it to be self-defeating. I'm here this time to discuss something with you. Zhang Yang said, what is it? Well, I have a granddaughter. She is about the same age as you. She is now an 8th level magician apprentice. She is very talented in our Qingshan town. President Rhodes said. So what? Do you know what will happen if you win the championship this time? President Rhodes continued. What will happen? Zhang Yang is actually interested in this matter. After all, he has never had such an experience before. It turns out that life can still be lived like this, which is indeed very interesting. So he intends to continue to experience this kind of life. You will be invited by the Royal Academy of Magic to study magic with Princess Yueyang. President Rhodes said. Indeed, he concealed this matter before. In fact, it was President Rhodes' wishful thinking to be able to succeed Princess Yang's husband. However, 80% of him believed that Zhang Yang would definitely be able to do it. After all, his strength lay there. And then, Zhang Yang asked again. He looked at President Rhodes hesitating, and guessed that he still had something to say. Reminiscent of what President Rhodes said about his granddaughter just now, a thought suddenly flashed in Zhang Yang's mind, and then he said in surprise, "You don't want me to bring your granddaughter into the room, do you?" The Royal Academy of Magic, just from the name sounds very tall, Zhang Yang naturally saw the arrangement of Rhodes' full length. 0. Ask for flowers. This old guy is really active in mind. Zhang Yang couldn't help smiling, he really likes Rhodes. After all, Rhodes didn't meander, but said everything directly, making friends with such straightforward people. Zhang Yang feels very happy, and he doesn't have to worry about the duplicity of those so-called hypocritical friends. President Rhodes smiled and nodded. Zhang Yang breathed a sigh of relief and said, "That's fine, as long as others have no opinions and your granddaughter agrees, that's fine." "Really? Thank you so much, little brother." Rhodes laughed and left the place where Zhang Yang lived. Looking at the back of Rhodes leaving, Zhang Yang smiled again. It's such a good feeling to have an old friend. Staring at the round moon in the sky, it seemed that the figure of the Dark Emperor appeared again. Zhang Yang felt a little emotional for a while. This life is impermanent, who would have thought that he would never see the Dark Emperor again now? 0. But Zhang Yang didn't intend to give up, because he knew that space magic is very powerful, and he was teleported to this magical world by the space crack. If in this world, he can study space magic painstakingly, maybe in the end, he can easily control the quality of space, and then he can go back again and see the Dark Emperor. With this thought, Zhang Yang's mood improved a lot. So even though the night was getting dark, he didn't intend to sleep, but directly jumped a few spaces to the forest behind Qingshan town. I plan to take a look at what Xiaohe is doing now. Because Xiaohe has the spatial imprint left by Zhang Yang on his body, Zhang Yang sensed Xiaohe's position when he first came to the forest. But what surprised him was that Xiaohe's current state was very unstable, as if he was fighting something. Thinking of this, Zhang Yang was a little worried. He used several space jumps in a row, directly located Xiaohe's position and teleported there. This dual attribute spirit beast is rare, and it also absorbed the power of space, so don't make any mistakes. But when Zhang Yang came to Xiaohe, he felt relieved. After all, it was not someone else chasing Xiaohe, but Xiaohe chasing 10 little girls. Chapter 286 Champions. Xiaohe's state is not as bad as Zhang Yang imagined. On the contrary, after receiving the power of space compressed by Dao Zhang Yang, Xiaohe's strength is showing a geometric multiple increase, and there is even a faint tendency to evolve. As for the girl Xiaohe was chasing after, she didn't have any dangerous aura on her body, she just looked like a weak girl, at most she looked like an 8th level magician apprentice. Zhang Yang didn't take her seriously, but Xiaohe seemed very interested. It estimates the force in the experimental space. Xiaohe's strength before was considered average. But because he has the dual attributes of wind and thunder, he is quite different. The girl was releasing magic all the time during her escape, and from the color, it should be the magic of the water system. After chasing for a certain distance, Xiaohe seemed a little bored, because the human girl, 440, in front of him was indeed a little weak, which made him uninterested. Therefore, it stretched out its claws, intending to end the human ecology in front of it. But at this moment, Zhang Yang, who had been watching by the side, made a move. He couldn't just watch Xiaohe attack a weak human being. In particular, this girl has a unique temperament, and her appearance is quite outstanding, like a little Lolita. Xiaohe, stop. Zhang Yang's voice sounded suddenly. Xiaohe, who was attacking, suddenly trembled, as if he had heard some order, and then turned his head to see Zhang Yang's figure. All of a sudden, it died down, lying at Zhang Yang's feet, like a docile kitten, without the same majesty and prestige that Hockey had when he was chasing the little girl just now. After Xiaohe stopped chasing, the girl finally collapsed on the ground as if discouraged. She felt very unlucky. How could she encounter so many annoying things today? First she quarreled with her parents at home, and then she went out to relax and was hunted down. Wang Yushi really wanted to die. If the tiger chased her just now, she might not have run away. But now, she has met a savior, Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang didn't look at the girl, he just said softly, Xiaohe, don't take the initiative to attack humans without my order, do you hear me? Although Zhang Yang came to another world, but here is also dominated by humans, so Zhang Yang will not let Xiaohe attack. Xiaohe nodded obediently at this time, as if he had heard some unbreakable order. Thank you. Wang Yushi plucked up her courage, stepped forward and said to Zhang Yang. She suddenly felt that Zhang Yang was like a dazzling light in her life, so shining. Zhang Yang is tall and good-looking, with sword eyebrows and star eyes, unique temperament, and he has the power of space. It added a charm, and Wang Yushi was dumbfounded at first glance. Suddenly a thought rose in her heart, whether she was destined to be chased by a tiger just now. At this time, Wang Yushi was like a fangirl, and her gaze towards Zhang Yang was full of enthusiasm. But Zhang Yang didn't intend to say anything, but nodded, and left with Xiaohe. He still doesn't want others to know that he has a spirit beast as a pet, after all, he wants to keep some whole cards. After all, Zhang Yang is not familiar with this world, and even the most basic magic knowledge has just been learned recently. And there are many powerful people in this world, and the magicians in Qingshan town are very weak, so Zhang Yang is actually not too afraid. But in the books, Zhang Yang learned that the country and clan will have many very powerful guys. Wang Yushi looked at the figure of Zhang Yang leaving, and made up her mind that she would never marry anyone except this man in her life. No matter how hard her family tried to force her, she would not agree. After all, without Zhang Yang, her life just now would have ended. It can be said that her life already belongs to Zhang Yang. After leaving the little girl, Zhang Yang brought Xiaohe to the dense forest. Seeing some changes in Xiaohe, Zhang Yang was very excited. After all, he could feel a familiar aura of power from Xiaohe. Just now he saw that Xiaohe's magic knights are not only Lei and Feng. Letting Xiaohe continue to practice in the dense forest, Zhang Yang returned to the tavern alone. After all, the finals will be held tomorrow, so even if he doesn't lose the remaining two opponents. He also needs to take a good rest and recharge his batteries. The finals were in full swing, and Zhang Yang arrived at the venue very early. However, there were very few people watching the match today, and even Chairman Rhodes didn't come, so I don't know what happened. So Zhang Yang began to draw lots under the guidance of the referee, because it was a 2-2 duel, so in the first game, Zhang Yang got a bye. Let the remaining two opponents all breathe a sigh of relief, because with yesterday's game, both of them saw how powerful Zhang Yang is. Therefore, they have given up the idea of competing for the championship. This made Zhang Yang a little helpless. He actually didn't want to do this, he also wanted to make his control of magic more handy through some battles. But these people are too cowardly, and they are still very weak, so they can't let him truly display his abilities, but it's good, anyway, he can enter the Royal Academy of Magicians smoothly, and when he is next to Princess Yueyang, he will definitely be able to meet him. To some great people. Sure enough, Zhang Yang had already guessed that the two contestants decided on the runner-up and the third place after the duel, and then they all chose to abstain, and none of them chose to fight against Zhang Yang first. The referee was indeed very surprised, because since he presided over the game for so many years, there has never been a game that has been as easy as it is today. The match schedule has ended very quickly, which is also one of the main reasons why Rhodes and Wang Qing did not show up at 4.8. Because not only Zhang Yang, but the two of them also guessed what the result of today's game would be, so they decisively chose to meet Princess Yueyang and reported such a situation. Princess Yueyang didn't actually meet them. Although Rhodes' status in Qingshan town was very high, he still seemed so humble in front of Princess Moonlight. It can be said that the weakest guards around Princess Yueyang are magicians or knights, not to mention those who follow Princess Yueyang to protect Princess Yueyang. Zhang Yang, who won the championship, was actually not very happy, because he had never seen Princess Yang from the previous competition until now. So he was in a bad mood. Chapter 287. The Transformation of Wang Yushi. Qingshan Town Magicians Association. After Wang Yushi went back, she kept shrinking herself in the room. No matter who came, she would not open the door, because she knew what day it was. Grandpa and Grandpa joined hands to ask her to marry someone she didn't know, which made Wang Yushi, who had always been spoiled as a little princess, unable to accept this result. But today, when President Rhodes and Vice President Wang Qing came back from the Moonlight Princess, they brought Zhang Yang here directly. Wang Yushi, come out for me. As a grandfather, Wang Qing was also very strict, and his shout immediately scared Wang Yushi. So Wang Yushi, who was in the room, subconsciously planned to go out, but she suddenly thought that today is the day when the champion will be born. She returned to the room again angrily. Little brother, my granddaughter has a very temper, please bear with me. Rhodes was a little embarrassed at this time, so he took the initiative to explain. He also has nothing to do. For the future of 07 in Qingshan Town, Rhodes can only choose to settle the matter in a low voice. Otherwise, Qingshan Town will only become weaker and weaker, and in the end, anyone will be able to blatantly bully their people. That was not the result Rhodes wanted to see. Zhang Yang was silent for a while, and then said out loud, it's okay, if she doesn't want to, forget it first. In fact, to be honest, Zhang Yang still doesn't want to bring a burden. After all, if he is alone, he can do anything, but if he wears a girl, it will be inconvenient to do anything at that time. Whether you are going out, practicing magic, or exercising, there is always someone there. At this time, Wang Qing also started to act like a good person, and said to Zhang Yang, little brother, don't be angry, I'll go inside and call him now. Although Wang Qing didn't want to marry his granddaughter to Zhang Yang at first, but under Rhodes' guidance, he suddenly agreed. Even if Zhang Yang can't help them develop Qingshan Town better and better, then the future of this young man is limitless. Letting his granddaughter follow him is only good, and there is absolutely no harm. Zhang Yang nodded, indicating yes. He already has some feelings for Qingshan Town, because he has appeared here since he first came to this world. After spending many days with President Rhodes and Vice President Wang Qing, he suddenly felt that these two old men were quite cute. And in this place, as well as his pet Xiaohe, everything depends on Zhang Yang's affection for this small place. Although there is nothing special about the small place of Qingshan Town, and the magician's ability is also very weak, but it is a place suitable for living. After a while, Wang Qing with a livid face brought out Sun Wang's poems. At first, Wang Yushi was very reluctant, but under Wang Qing's persecution, she still chose to come out to meet this man. Her face was pear blossoms with rain, and she was crying hard. But when she saw Zhang Yang for the first time, her dejected face magically turned into a smile. Then he shouted happily, it's you. Wang Yushi never thought that the person her grandfather and grandfather asked her to marry was the one who saved her last night. This is simply unbelievable. She hasn't had time to clean up her emotions, and she must be very ugly now. Thinking about it, Wang Yushi covered her cheeks very shyly, not wanting Zhang Yang to see her ugly appearance. It's you. Zhang Yang was also stunned. He didn't expect it to be this girl. She is Rhodes' grandson, Queen's language poetry. She was indeed very pretty, and Zhang Yang was a little shocked. Last night, because the night was very dark, he didn't see the girl's appearance clearly. But now, he can see clearly that Wang Yushi's appearance is definitely top-notch. Her face looks like a loli, but her figure is more sexy. This is a perfect girl, no wonder she doesn't want to marry casually. Stunned, they wanted to introduce at first, but they didn't expect that the two of them would have met first. This is really a happy event, and it seems that the relationship between the two of them seems to be quite good. Rhodes laughed loudly, and then patted Zhang Yang's shoulder. Okay, very good, you can take her away today, I've almost prepared the car for you, let's go to see Lord Moonlight. Although they were rejected by Princess Yueyang, Zhang Yang has indeed become the champion, so they still have to go to the city where Princess Yueyang is located. Royal Magic City. At this time, Wang Yushi had rushed back to her room and put on a very sexy and beautiful dress, and then stood beside Zhang Yang, ready to go with him. Zhang Yang was also very excited, after all, who wouldn't want to look at a beautiful girl. After simply packing their luggage, they boarded the carriage prepared for them by President Rhodes. It is said that the Royal Devil is a little far away. President Rhodes and the others used magic all the way to go so fast, but Wang Yushi didn't have such powerful magic, so they could only choose the slower way of traveling in a carriage. Zhang Yang could choose the way of space jumping, but Wang Yushi couldn't accept the energy in the space crack, otherwise they could reach the Royal Magic City in less than an hour just relying on Zhang Yang's strength. You saved me. I forgot to say thank you last time. Wang Yushi sat in the carriage and said very shyly. It is difficult to describe her current mood in words, because she is so happy. Although Zhang Yang was also happy, he didn't show it too much, he just said lightly, well, it's okay, your grandpa and grandpa handed you over to me, and I will be your big brother from now on, do you remember something, be sure to tell me. Because Zhang Yang has Princess Yueyang, he doesn't want to have too much relationship with Wang Yushi for the time being, otherwise it will be too complicated and difficult to explain. Big brother. Wang Yushi called out, Zhang Yang big brother. She had some objections at first, after all, she knew that Zhang Yang went to the Royal Magic City to meet Princess Moonlight, so Wang Yushi was a little jealous. But thinking of being able to be with Zhang Yang in the future, there is nothing wrong with being Zhang Yang's younger sister. After all, if you are close to the water, you get the moon first, and she stays next to Zhang Yang for a long time, is she afraid that she will not have a chance? Regarding this point, Wang Yushi is very smart, he knows that Zhang Yang doesn't like entangled women, so she chooses to be a submissive person. Even if Zhang Yang can't accept her now, she is confident that she will become Zhang Yang's woman in the future. Chapter 288. The First Murder. The speed of the carriage was actually very slow. When it was dark, they had just walked to the edge of Qingshan town, and there was still a long distance from the Royal Academy of Magic. But there is no hurry, the enrollment period of the Royal Academy of Magic is half a month away, so they still have a long time to use. It was getting dark quickly, they parked the carriage beside a tavern, and then went into it to rest and recharge their batteries. This tavern is not very big, but the people in it all look vicious. Tebi is the owner of the tavern, and the two scars on his eyes are very conspicuous, and he doesn't look like a good person. Wang Yushi was terrified, she stuck to Zhang Yang's body, and said softly, why don't we go back to the carriage and sleep, it feels too dangerous here. Wang Yushi is very courageous, but in the face of this situation, she is indeed not very able to accept it as a weak girl. Zhang Yang must feel that it doesn't matter. He squeezed Wang Yushi's little hand and said calmly, don't worry, I'm here for everything, so don't be afraid. From the moment Zhang Yang came in, he could clearly see the strength of everyone here, and the most powerful of them was just at the level of a magician, and there was no one he was afraid of. Yeah, listen to your Zhang Yang big brother. Wang Yushi responded with a smile. In the past, she was also a little princess at home, and she was brought up pampered, but by Zhang Yang's side, she was like a child who obeyed every word. What he said to Zhang Yang seemed to be an imperial decree, and he would never violate it from the beginning. After Zhang Yang comforted Wang Yushi, he went to the front desk of the tavern and opened 2 rooms. After sending Wang Yushi back to the room to rest, he also returned to his own room. In the room, Zhang Yang began to meditate once a day, and this time of day is when he begins to realize the power of space. Because night is the most active time for space power in the entire time period, Zhang Yang discovered this period since he first arrived in this world, so his ability has improved very quickly over the past few days. A large part of it is because of this. At the beginning, Zhang Yang thought that the energy in this world was many and complicated, and it was not so easy to comprehend, but now, he realized from the space that all magical energy leads to the same goal through different routes. It's just that the process of cultivation is different and the methods used are different. From the source of power, Zhang Yang came to a conclusion that in order to easily break through the door of space and return to the previous world, one must first practice. Now what exists on his body is the power of space, so he needs to use this power of space to cultivate to ultimate, and reach the world's top level, in order to be able to reborn. But going to Germany and Austria is actually not over. Although the power of space has reached ultimate, other energies are still missing, so Zhang Yang deduced that all energies should be cultivated again. For example, when his power of space has been cultivated to ultimate, he has to give up all the power of space and choose another kind of magic energy before cultivating to ultimate. By analogy, until Zhang Yang has mastered all the energies in this world to perfection, he can integrate all the attributes, and then produce a power that can cross races, space, and time. Even, this power can surpass the original power and reach the strongest. Zhang Yang, who came to this conclusion, was extremely excited, because this was the first time he realized the Tao between heaven and earth. Just when Zhang Yang was planning to practice at a deeper level today, a sudden scream interrupted his train of thought. Zhang Yang's reaction was very quick, and he could only see his body flickering on the spot for a moment, then disappeared, and the next moment, appeared in front of the subject poem. At this moment, Wang Yushi is very pitiful. The original tavern owner finally revealed his robber instinct at this time. When Wang Yushi went out to fetch water, he tried to control her and get all the property she carried. But Wang Yushi would rather die than follow, because Rhodes and Wang Qing did give her a lot of money when they left. But part of the money was given to Zhang Yang, and Wang Yushi refused to hand it over no matter what. Stop struggling, take it easy, maybe I'll be in a better mood and spare your life. The shop owner said fiercely. He was very happy today. He was about to close up, but unexpectedly, he ran into two people who came to give away their heads. Judging from their clothes, these two people should not be poor. So the shop owner came to Wang Yushi's room at night, thinking that if he wanted to kidnap the woman, then the man would definitely compromise. They have used this routine many times, so there is no need to worry about any mistakes. But it is a pity that they met Zhang Yang this time, which means that their operation this time will not be so smooth. In order to monopolize the money, the shop owner did not tell others about his plan to deal with these two people. Zhang Yang came to Wang Yushi's room in a flash. He frowned and said, I advise you to let go of that woman before I get angry, otherwise you can't bear the consequences. In fact, Zhang Yang still has feelings for Wang Yushi, because this girl is very cute, and everything follows his lead. Such girls are actually rare. And on the way, Zhang Yang also recognized Wang Yushi as his younger sister. Naturally, he couldn't watch his younger sister be murdered. Wang Yushi still doesn't quite understand Zhang Yang's strength, so she subconsciously shouted, Zhang Didi Zhao, Yang big brother, run quickly, leave me alone. At this time, Wang Yushi's mind is full of Zhang Yang's safety, because she is the junior with the best magic talent in Qingshan town. But when she faced the shop owner again, she had no room to fight back, so she subconsciously thought that Zhang Yang would definitely not be able to beat you, a fierce boss. When the shop owner heard this, he knew that they must be scared, so he said proudly, if you are sensible, hand over all the money you have, or I will let this girl die. Zhang Yang said helplessly, if that's the case, then go to die. After finishing speaking, Zhang Yang waved his big hand, and two space blades flew over, directly cutting off the two arms of the shop owner, and Zhang Yang appeared behind the shop owner in an instant. With the power of space attached to his hand, it directly cut off the life breath of the shop owner. Chapter 289, Black Mage. This is Zhang Yang's first murder in this magical continent. To be honest, he really doesn't want to kill the killer, but there is no way, this shop owner is really brain dead. Zhang Yang couldn't take it anymore. Wang Yushi was stunned by the scene in front of her, but when she saw that Zhang Yang was fine, she threw herself into Zhang Yang's arms and burst into tears. Compared with seeing the murder, Zhang Yang is safe and sound, which makes her happier. As long as you are fine, as long as your big brother is fine. Wang Yushi is indeed a cute and innocent girl. Ever since she recognized Zhang Yang as her savior, she gave her whole heart to the man in front of her. In the face of life, she still misses Zhang Yang. Holding Wang Yushi in his arms, Zhang Yang asked softly, you saw me killing people, don't you think I'm scary? Zhang Yang doesn't like killing people, especially some insignificant people. Just now he was just out of necessity. After all, Wang Yushi was in the hands of the shop owner at that time. He didn't know why, but when he got excited, he immediately killed him. Could it be that he felt sorry for the little girl and was afraid that she would be hurt? Zhang Yang thinks it should be like this. After that, Zhang Yang used most of the power of space to forcibly open a space crack, threw the shop owner's body into 307, and let Wang Yushi sleep in his room. Zhang Yang doesn't need to sleep, he can recover his physical strength and even magical energy through meditation. While Wang Yushi was sleeping, Zhang Yang came to the roof alone and began to meditate facing the sky full of stars and the bright moonlight. It was dawn soon, and after they had a simple breakfast, they continued their journey. Because it is far away, we have to travel as soon as possible. This time the road was very calm, and no special situation was encountered, and the distance to the Royal Magic City was getting closer and closer. But the inspection on the road is much stricter. I heard that recently some demons have practiced dark magic and are hurting normal people everywhere. Along the way, Zhang Yang indeed discovered that the people here are indeed much stronger than those in Qingshan town. Not to mention anything else, he has already seen about 4 or 5 of the 5th level magicians alone. This is just a passerby, not a formal staff. It seems that this Royal Magic City must be Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Since it is so, Zhang Yang thinks that it is very necessary to hide one's strength. On the way, because Zhang Yang was worried about Xiao Hei's comfort, he would return to Qingshan town every AHCD night to comfort him. However, as the strength of the people on the road became higher and higher, Zhang Yang's idea of bringing Xiao Hei by his side became stronger and stronger. Because of the master-servant contract, Zhang Yang suddenly discovered a very interesting but cruel method. That is, Xiao Hei can gain energy from the people he kills, thus gaining growth and evolution. This method is very cruel, but it can make Xiao Hei evolve very quickly. This is what Zhang Yang discovered after he killed the shop owner. In fact, Zhang Yang chose to refuse at first. But he suddenly realized that the people he met in the future would become more and more powerful, but Xiao Hei's strength was growing too slowly. In order to allow Xiao He to synchronize with him, Zhang Yang had an idea in his heart. On a dark and stormy night, Zhang Yang left Wang Yushi behind and went out to find the legendary magician who learned dark magic and killed people everywhere. Dark magic is a forbidden spell, ordinary people are not allowed to learn it, otherwise they will be devoured and burn their own vitality. That's why they need to kill people and take the vitality of others to maintain their normal state, otherwise they will die miserably. Zhang Yang's perception is actually very strong, so when he was on the road, he actually sensed several auras of black magic. The power contained in that magic is very evil, and it smells like blood. But it's not that there is only one black magician as people say. It seems that these people should be well hidden, because some of them have not been discovered by others. As the space fluctuated, a person who was resting in the forest suddenly woke up. He was wearing a black magic robe and a hat on his head, and he seemed to be integrated with the night. If you don't look very carefully, no one will find that there is still a person in this place. But Zhang Yang is not an ordinary person, his spatial perception ability is very strong. As long as there is an object within the range, it cannot escape his perception. Hello, don't be nervous. I know who you are, and I'm not here to arrest you. I want to cooperate with you. Zhang Yang opened his mouth straight to the point, explaining all the reasons for his coming. But the black mage didn't believe it, he was very vigilant, almost instantly, he woke up from the darkness, and then threw out a shadow arrow. It is very powerful, if Zhang Yang is not a space magic, maybe he will be tricked. This dark magic is indeed a forbidden spell, and it is the most powerful opponent Zhang Yang has encountered since entering this world. After leaving Zhang Yang's body for a certain distance, the black magician said, "Who the hell are you? Don't try to lie to me." Their black magicians are not understood by the world, so no matter what purpose others have, they will be regarded as enemies. Zhang Yang knew that his appearance was indeed a bit abrupt, so he raised his hands and took 2 steps back, expressing that he did not intend to attack. Then the tone was slightly relaxed, "I want to join you." Yes, Zhang Yang's idea was to join these black mages. In the beginning, he actually wanted to eradicate these black mages in order to achieve the idea of killing people and empowering Xiao He. But in the process, he suddenly thought, if he really wanted to eradicate these black magicians, how many of them would he be able to kill in this world? Xiao He's growth requires a lot of energy, so killing the black mage is not a long-term solution. So, after a lot of consideration, Zhang Yang finally decided to join them. After all, black magic is also a kind of magic, and sooner or later it needs to be understood and reach the top level. Join us. I'm sorry, please leave. The black magician said coldly. He is not stupid, this kind of person who is not afraid or hates them, and is about to join, must have a problem. Zhang Yang knew what this person was worried about, so he took out a magic spar, which was given to him by President Rhodes before he left, and it contained magical energy. It can make the magician's door recover quickly when the magic energy is exhausted. Zhang Yang also saw black magic as a forbidden spell in the book before, and it consumes a lot of energy when it is released. I'll give you this, and you will teach me simple black magic. Zhang Yang shrugged and handed over the magic spar. Chapter 290. Meeting Princess Yueyang for the first time. The black magician was skeptical, but when he got the magic spar, he felt the surging magic energy in it, and his expression changed suddenly, and he was full of love when he looked at Zhang Yang. After all, this is a rare treasure, even in the Royal Magic City. My name is Nangong Zuntian, and I'm a black mage. The black mage finally began to report his family, and it was the first time he met Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang stepped forward to shake hands with him, and said out loud, "Hello, my name is Zhang Yang." Then the two walked together and began to discuss the matter of black magic. Zhang Yang didn't tell him the purpose of his coming, but made up one at random, but he also aimed at a saint. Is there any black magic that is simple but kills quickly? Zhang Yang took the lead. His purpose is to kill people, of course, the simpler the better, especially the ones that can be cast instantly and are very powerful. Nangong Zuntian was very happy to get the magic spar, so he didn't hide it, and replied, "The shadow arrow I released just now is the foundation of black magic, and there is something even higher, which is the shadow reincarnation." After some conversations with Zhang Yang, he found that this person did not come to inquire about their black mages on purpose, but really wanted to join the black mages. With this understanding, Nangong Zuntian was much more generous, and he took the initiative to teach Zhang Yang the release of shadow arrows and the absorption of black magic energy. The energy of black magic must be absorbed at night. At first, Nangong Zuntian was worried about whether Zhang Yang would be swallowed by black magic. But Zhang Yang's comprehension ability was beyond Nangong Zuntian's expectation. In the end, he even used genius to describe Zhang Yang. Although Shadow Bolt is a relatively basic spell in black magic, it is difficult for ordinary people to understand how black magic works when they have not been exposed to black magic. Not to mention releasing it, but Zhang Yang actually released a powerful shadow arrow in just a few minutes, which really surprised Nangong Zunfu. It's quite simple. Zhang Yang then said something that made Nangong Zuntian want to vomit blood. You know, when Nangong Zuntian first received black magic, it took half a month to understand how black magic works, and then it took a month to practice shadow arrow. Now that he has practiced black magic, of course Zhang Yang intends to try it first, otherwise it would be meaningless. After bidding farewell to Nangong Zuntian, Zhang Yang used space magic to find another black mage in this place. Although Zhang Yang reached an agreement with Nangong Zuntian, he did not intend to show mercy to the other black magicians. After all, these are some heinous people. The second black mage was obviously not as vigilant as Nangong Zuntian, and his strength was also far behind. So Zhang Yang used the shadow bolt to kill the black mage easily without spending any time. At the same time, the space energy in Zhang Yang's body extracted the energy of the mage's body after death, and then sent it to Xiaohei's body. Zhang Yang clearly felt the process of teleportation, and also saw that Xiaohei was very happy and his strength improved. After doing all this, Zhang Yang began to feel that the black magician has a little more mysterious meaning. Although it is a technique used to kill people, it is not as bad as the public said. Apart from the fact that black magic can devour people's vitality, this is really a very powerful spell system. However, Zhang Yang is not worried about this, because the space magic in his body is many times stronger than this black magic. Black magic cannot absorb Zhang Yang's vitality, so Zhang Yang naturally needs to kill people to maintain the normal operation of black magic. Early the next morning, Zhang Yang took Wang Yushi to the royal magic city in good spirits. Those who came to greet them were members of the knights around Princess Yueyang, who were also knight commanders. Zhang Yang didn't know Zhang Yang at first, so it was Wang Yushi who called out first. After all, when the three towns were united, the knight commander had been to Qingshan town. That was the man Wang Yushi knew at that time. The knight leader is called Lu Shuiliang. He is very powerful. He should be around the 5th order knight. If you really want to count, he is more powerful than President Rhodes. 0. Seeking flowers. Princess Yueyang is already at the gate of the Royal Academy of Magic. Let me take you there. Lu Shuiliang said. He didn't know Zhang Yang. At first he thought he would be a relatively outstanding junior from the other two towns. But Wang Yushi followed him, which made him rather strange, so on the way, he asked, Wang Yushi, why are you here? Wang Yushi didn't know what to say, so she looked at Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang said, you will know this when you meet Princess Yueyang. It is true that President Rhodes and Vice President Wang Qing were not able to meet Princess Yueyang directly, so the matter of Wang Yushi was not resolved. 0. But Zhang Yang knows that as long as he meets Princess Yueyang, he has enough confidence to let Wang Yushi enter the Royal Academy of Magic. Lu Shuiliang was dissatisfied. He thought that you, a junior, didn't know what was going on here, so he stopped talking, and then we'll see how you make a fool of yourself. Soon, they saw Princess Yueyang together. Princess Yueyang is indeed as beautiful as in the legend. Wearing this aqua blue dress, her temperament and appearance are excellent. If Wang Yushi is considered the most beautiful in Qingshan town, then the appearance and temperament of this Princess Yueyang must be higher than Ren Yushi. Hi, I'm Zhang Yang. As soon as Zhang Yang arrived, he went up to say hello to Princess Yueyang. Princess Yueyang was indeed as cold and glamorous as she was when she rejected President Rhodes. She just glanced at Zhang Yang and said nothing. On the contrary, she saw Wang Yushi and said with some dissatisfaction, aren't you the only one? Why is there another one? Who is she? Princess Yueyang is actually very dissatisfied with this small place, but this rule has been passed down from before, and no one can violate it. Who made her the princess? Now that she has enjoyed the comfort brought by her status as a princess, she also has to take responsibility. This is my sister, Wang Yushi. Before Zhang Yang could wait for Princess Yueyang to continue asking, he said, I want her to enter the Royal Academy of Magic with us. I don't know what you want. Chapter 291 Qualification. Princess Yueyang was dumbfounded after hearing Zhang Yang's words. She didn't know what Zhang Yang was going crazy, because even if she was a princess, she was just a princess of a small local king. What is the Royal Academy of Magic? It is a magic academy established by several kings around you. Is it something common people like you can see if they want to? So Princess Yueyang resolutely rejected Zhang Yang. No, if I say no, I won't. Now her affection for Zhang Yang has plummeted, and she doesn't want to see this annoying person in front of her at all. Wang Yushi also saw Zhang Yang's difficulties, so she tugged at the corner of Zhang Yang's clothes. Zhang Yang big brother, otherwise forget it, I can go back. Wang Yushi is very sensible, she doesn't want to see Zhang Yang in trouble because of him. But Zhang Yang just rubbed her head, signaling her not to worry. Then, 907, looked at Princess Yueyang and said, let's make a bet, if I win, how about you agree to my request? Princess Yueyang laughed. At first she subconsciously wanted to refuse, but after seeing Lu Shuiliang, she suddenly changed her mind. Okay. Then let's make a bet. If you can beat Lu Shuiliang, I will let your sister go to school with us. Princess Yueyang still has this bit of power, but Wang Yushi is very aware of Lu Shuiliang's strength. He is stronger than her grandfather and grandfather. Not only Wang Yushi, but even Lu Shuiliang who was standing by was stunned. Originally, he hated Zhang Yang a little bit. But in front of Princess Yueyang, he suddenly felt that Zhang Yang was a bit pitiful. Okay, I agree to your request. Zhang Yang agreed with a smile. If it is better than magic, the three Lu Shuiliang are tied together, and he is not Zhang Yang's opponent. Obviously Lu Shuiliang didn't realize this. If he had watched those two games in Qingshan town, he would have understood that Zhang Yang's strength was unfathomable. Although he is the team battle of the Moon Sun Princess Knights, he still has no chance of winning. Zhang Yang started his action almost as soon as he finished speaking. His space magic is almost instantaneous, without command spells. So almost in an instant, Zhang Yang's body appeared behind Lu Shuiliang. Lu Shuiliang's reaction was quick, and just when he was about to turn around and condense the strength in his body to fight, Zhang Yang held the sharp blade formed by the condensed space eye in one hand and put it on his neck. And threatened, say surrender, or I will cut off your head. When he said this, Zhang Yang was full of murderous aura, and he didn't look like a student in a magic academy at all. Even Lu Shuiliang was frightened at this time, so he subconsciously said, I admit defeat. When Lu Shuiliang uttered these words, Princess Yueyang and Wang Yushi were all stunned. They didn't expect that Zhang Yang's strength could reach such a level, and he could easily defeat the Fifth Order Knight. This is simply too shocking, because Princess Yueyang is also 18 years old this year, and they are basically at the level of apprentices at this age. Princess Yueyang, now that I have won, it's time for you to fulfill your promise. Zhang Yang said confidently. When Lu Shuiliang conceded defeat, Zhang Yang let go of him. To be honest, his space magic is used to kill people and he can really be called the world's #1 assassin. Because no one can guard against the killers that suddenly appear around the body. Lu Shuiliang was very angry, but when he thought of Zhang Yang's eyes that made him tremble just now, he was very scared. What kind of eyes did that look? Like a person crawling out of a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood, the aura of killing was so strong. Wang Yushi happily hugged Zhang Yang's cheek and kissed, then said with a smile, thank you, Princess Yueyang. After being shocked at the beginning, Princess Yueyang unexpectedly regained her composure, her eyes sparkling with brilliance. As a princess, she yearns for a powerful person, if that is her husband. The reason why Princess Yueyang has such a cold attitude towards Zhang Yang is because she knows that people from these small places have no skills at all, and she is complacent because she won the championship. It's the garbage of garbage. But after seeing Zhang Yang, the idea of Princess Yueyang disappeared. Okay, I promise you. Princess Yueyang smiled, her eyes were curved like crescent moons, so beautiful that Zhang Yang was almost dumbfounded. Afterwards, Princess Yueyang sent Lu Shuiliang away, saying that Zhang Yang would be the head of her knights from now on. Although Lu Shuiliang was very angry, he didn't dare to get angry, because he couldn't offend Princess Yueyang or Zhang Yang. Afterwards, Princess Yueyang first arranged for Zhang Yang to attend the Royal Academy. Today, it was said that she was signing up, but in fact, Princess Yueyang just wanted to meet Zhang Yang. The official report will have to wait until tomorrow, and today Princess Yueyang will help Zhang Yang solve Wang Yushi's admission qualifications. After all, she is a newcomer, and she is so sudden, even Princess Yueyang does not have that much power. After all, the people of the Royal Academy of Magic are either extremely talented, or they are royal nobles, which are beyond the reach of ordinary people. Zhang Yang originally saw Princess Yueyang who was so indifferent, and his impression of her was actually not very good, but after today, Zhang Yang saw Princess Yueyang rushing around for Wang Yushi's affairs, she didn't look like a princess at all delicate as it should be. Therefore, Zhang Yang's favorability for Princess Yueyang soared sharply. Living next to the Royal Academy of Magic, Zhang Yang really felt what a big city is. This place is far more prosperous than Qingshan Town. When I was in Qingshan Town, one night, there were almost no people on the roads and streets, and everyone was in their own homes. But in the Royal Magic City, the night here is very lively, and many shops even open at night at 4.6. Not only the flow of people, but also, just as Zhang Yang came to this place, he could sense that there were at least 3 missions that were more powerful than Lu Shuiliang passing by. And one of them turned out to be a black mage. Zhang Yang couldn't help feeling that this black mage was too courageous. When he came, he got to know a little bit, the Lord of the Royal Magic City is a real strong man, it is said that he is a magister, very powerful. Zhang Yang hasn't met the magister yet, but he really wants to experience how powerful the magister is. Wang Yushi lives next to Zhang Yang. She has been depressed all day today. Although she has successfully obtained the qualification to enter the Royal Academy of Magic, seeing Zhang Yang flirting with Princess Yueyang, Wang Yushi has no reason angry. Chapter 292 Formal Enrollment. Zhang Yang actually didn't expect Wang Yushi to think so much, he just treated her as a little sister entrusted to her by President Rhodes. Girls think so much. But Wang Yushi is not. Ever since Zhang Yang became close to Princess Yueyang, Wang Yushi didn't want to talk to Zhang Yang very much. As a result, the contradictions between these few people came to the fore. Although they didn't show up on the surface, they could be clearly reflected behind the scenes. Early the next morning, Zhang Yang came to the door of Wang Yushi's room, wanting to take her to have breakfast together, and then report to the Royal Academy of Magic with Princess Yueyang. After all, today is the first day of class, and it's always bad to be late, but Zhang Yang waited at Wang Yushi's door for a long time, but there was no movement inside. Although he didn't know what was going on, Zhang Yang was not as worried as 07. After all, his spatial perception ability was very strong, and Wang Yushi was in the room well now. Since he couldn't call Wang Yushi for the time being, Zhang Yang didn't want to waste his energy in vain, and went downstairs to find Princess Yueyang who had been waiting for him for a long time. Since defeating Lu Shuiliang with ease yesterday, Princess Yueyang's attitude towards Zhang Yang has changed drastically, and she is no longer the same cold face as before. Instead, he smiled and watched Zhang Yang come down. You come down, I have made a reservation for you, let's eat together. Although she is a princess, she has been waiting for Zhang Yang at the door for so long, but she is still not angry, which is enough to see the importance of strength in this world. Zhang Yang nodded, and then said, km kilometers away. Zhang Yang was feeling a little uncomfortable. He was used to Wang Yushi treating him with this similar attitude at first, but now Princess Yueyang is doing the same, which made him feel uncomfortable. But I can't tell exactly where it is strange, and what is the identity of Princess Yueyang, it is difficult for Zhang Yang to make her not do anything. Wait, where's your sister? Princess Yueyang asked suddenly. Although Princess Yueyang is not very old, her mind is very active. Because of her high status, she has learned a lot from elementary school. So when she met Wang Yushi for the first time, she had already noticed that this little girl had a special feeling for Zhang Yang, and there was also a hint of love in her eyes when the subject wrote her. Meaning, at this time, no matter how stupid Princess Yueyang is, she can guess what's going on. It's okay, she may be a little unwell, don't worry about her, we can just bring her some after we eat, Zhang Yang said. Princess Yueyang helped them a lot after all, Zhang Yang couldn't just neglect Princess Yueyang just because Wang Yushi lost his temper. Breakfast was eaten quickly, but it was actually quite simple. Although Princess Yueyang had a relatively high status, she always ate like ordinary people. After finishing their meal, they first entered the Royal Academy of Magic and planned to report first. Before they left, they went back to take a look at Wang Yushi's situation, but Wang Yushi still didn't speak, but her breath was very calm. Zhang Yang naturally didn't have to worry about his comfort. Is your sister okay? Princess Yueyang asked worriedly. Zhang Yang was also a little worried at this time, but he didn't show it. He said, it's okay, she's fine. If it really doesn't work, I can help her take a leave of absence today. Can I push her back when she enters school? Princess Yueyang frowned, but she still didn't say anything, just nodded. Although this matter is a bit difficult to do, it can still be done. Afterwards, the two of them met the teachers who signed up, and because of Princess Yueyang's status, their admission materials were in the office. The teacher in charge of enrolling them is Zhou Desheng, a famous first-year teacher of the Royal Academy of Magic, whose strength is at the 6th level of magic. This week's victory is great, although he is a first-grade teacher, and his strength is not the strongest. But he is a magician of the fire department, good at attacking, and extremely powerful. This teacher's temper is also the most irritable among many teachers, but he has the capital of being irritable, that is, his strength is very tyrannical. Zhang Yang looked at Zhou Desheng and felt that this person was indeed very good. You are Zhang Yang, right? Zhou Desheng glanced at Zhang Yang, then took out a form and asked him to fill it out. Zhou Desheng, as a teacher, has always looked down on commoner students, because they are all from noble backgrounds. Well, maybe I don't need to enroll. Zhang Yang threw the form away casually, a little angry in his heart, but he had already heard Princess Yueyang say that these so-called procedures had already been prepared for him. What does it mean that Zhou Desheng took out another form this week? Is it deliberately making things difficult for him, or how to put it, otherwise, what does he mean? Is he simply looking down on himself? Zhang Yang suddenly felt a little funny, although experiencing all kinds of things in this world is very interesting, but after meeting more people, Zhang Yang suddenly found that there are really many fools in this world. Moreover, I often stand in front of me with various provocations, and 1 or 260 people don't know what to write. Seeing that Zhang Yang was already angry, Princess Yueyang couldn't hold back anymore, she gave Zhou Desheng a look, and then said, these materials have been prepared before, Mr. Zhou, what are you doing? At first Zhou Desheng wanted to get angry after seeing Zhang Yang throwing away the form he gave him, but the next moment Princess Yueyang's voice rang out, so he suppressed his fury and didn't speak anymore. I simply entered the data for both of them, and then let them leave after a simple division of shifts. There is nothing special to report on this first day, the main thing is to learn more about this school. The Royal Academy of Magic is divided into 6 grades, and there is an entrance examination every 6 months. Those who can graduate from the Royal Academy of Magic after 3 years can choose to be assigned to the army and start a career as a magician. For ordinary people, becoming a magician is the most important step to step into the nobility. Once the military industry of penultimate can be established in the station, they will be able to obtain the title of knighthood bestowed by the king. It is no longer a dream to become a man above all men, and this title can still be inherited, that is to say, if Zhang Yang is now enshrined by the king, his descendants can inherit it. Chapter 293 Tier 3 Warcraft. This is really a great temptation for a commoner, but Zhang Yang is not really interested, because titles, fame and fortune are just floating clouds, and he has bigger dreams. For a day, Princess Yueyang took Zhang Yang to learn about the Royal Academy of Magic and did nothing else, because the academy is too big and there are many facilities in it. There are also many training places, competition venues, teaching buildings, dormitory buildings, shopping streets, all in all. If you want to, you can actually live here for the rest of your life, which made Zhang Yang sigh again, now the power really trumps everything else. Princess Yueyang had already returned to the girls' dormitory building at night, but Zhang did not go back. He first took a look at Wang Yushi, and then plunged into the night again. Because he still has a bigger goal that he has not achieved, which is the Black Mage. A few nights ago, Zhang Yang had already sensed the existence of this magician, but he never dealt with him, because Zhang Yang felt that it was not necessary for the time being. But just last night, the Black Magician actually killed 2 people, and somehow escaped the monitoring of the guards. But Zhang Yang sensed it very clearly, he could no longer let this Black Magician run amok in the Royal Magic City, and if something went wrong, he would be in a bit of trouble. Because he now also carries some black magic energy, and the Lord of the Royal Magic City has the strength of a Magister. If he is found out, although he is not very afraid, it will inevitably cause a lot of trouble. This black mage hides very well, and his strength is estimated to be a little bit stronger than Nangong Zuntian, because Zhang Yang has discovered him a long time ago, and locked this person through space. But this black magician did not know what method he used to avoid Zhang Yang's monitoring more than once, and then came out again after a while. This not only makes Zhang Yang very strange, it seems that there are many strange magics in this world, and black magic is one of the very important branches. Some of the magic in this magic genre that consumes a lot of life is very powerful, even to the point of cheating. Originally, Zhang Yang's plan was to find this black magician today, show him some color, and then deter him, let him leave this place first, otherwise it would be easy to get burned. But at night, when Zhang Yang was going to use space magic, suddenly the aura of the black magician disappeared again, and this time it was more thorough. No matter how Zhang Yang checked, he couldn't find any trace of Yifu. This made Zhang Yang very helpless, but there was nothing he could do. It seemed that the black magician's ability was a bit perverted. He seemed to disappear out of thin air after one night. No one could find his trace. That being the case, Zhang Yang will no longer waste his efforts, and he will not be angry if he can't find it, because it means that the black magic must be very powerful. Another day, if he meets Nangong Zuntian again, he must ask him face to face what this black magic is. He can completely wear his own breath into the bracelet, even as if he is no longer in this world. After leaving the royal magician, Zhang Yang spent some things on the road, and finally returned to the forest behind Qingshan town. He thought that Xiaohe had been calling him for the past few days, because the distance was far away, so for a while, Zhang Yang couldn't be sure what Xiaohe was looking for him for. After Xiaohe saw Zhang Yang, he immediately jumped out from the nearby bushes. His body was covered with snow smears. It looked like he had fought with some powerful guy. And it was obvious that the loss was extremely tragic, so he began to call Zhang Yang, trying to get Zhang Yang to avenge him. Looking at the scars on his body, Zhang Yang deduced that this was probably a good thing done by a third-level spirit beast. The third-order spirit beast is actually very powerful, not to mention anything else, even an ordinary magician cannot guarantee that he can retreat unscathed. For example, if President Rhodes was not a water magician, he would probably be killed when facing a third-order spirit beast. Zhang Yang saw Xiaohe's situation, and he was not angry, because the spirit beasts fighting each other had a chance to help them absorb the energy in their bodies. The energy transmitted by Zhang Yang by killing the black mage last time has been stored in Xiaohe's body, and has not been fully catalyzed. Otherwise, with Xiaohe's talent, it is estimated that he has already broken through to the third-order spirit beast, and he wouldn't be so embarrassed by being beaten by others now. But since this is the case, beating the dog depends on the owner. Since Xiaohe was bullied by others, Zhang Yang, as the owner, must of course stand up. Xiaohe is very humane. After signing the contract with Zhang Yang, he can intermittently sense the thoughts in Zhang Yang's heart, so he looked at Zhang Yang with a thankful look. He quickly jumped in front of Zhang Yang and went up to lead the way, for fear that Zhang Yang would not recognize the spirit beast that beat him. When Zhang Yang rushed to the place, he found a huge chimpanzee in front of him. This chimpanzee was more than 10 times bigger than Zhang Yang. He was very strong and should be a spirit beast with high IQ. No, it should be called a monster, because Zhang Yang could sense a very familiar black magic aura from the chimpanzee in front of him. Just now, this kind of breath was almost the same as the last time I saw Nangong Nuo Zuntian. From this, we can draw a conclusion that this chimpanzee actually has no less control over black magic than Nangong Zuntian. In this way, Zhang Yang is not surprised why Xiaohe can't beat it. Xiaohe's strength is very strong. As a dual-attribute spirit beast, it already has the ability to leapfrog challenges, and sometimes it can exert even stronger power. Now, Zhang Yang understands that Xiaohe doesn't really want to, because all creatures that can control black magic are very powerful. Some extreme black magicians can even burn their own vitality to increase their magical energy several times in an instant. It can be said that in the process of heads up, the black magician's ability is enough to make people shudder. Especially this is a third-tier chimpanzee, whose strength can be said to be the most powerful Zhang Yang has seen in this family. Chapter 294 Goodbye Nangong Zuntian. This chimpanzee's IQ is obviously very high. When it saw Zhang Yang, it roared angrily, and then ran away. Zhang Yang originally planned to catch up, but suddenly thought of something and gave up the idea instantly. The existence of this chimpanzee is a good thing. It can always be in the same place with Xiaohe, and it can give Xiaohe a sense of crisis, so that his strength will improve very quickly. There is a saying here, born in sorrow and died in peace. If Xiaohe has no natural enemies, then it will become very lazy. And this chimpanzee Zhang Yang is also very interested in him. Maybe he can learn some useful black magic from this chimpanzee at that time. After bidding farewell to Xiaohe, Zhang Yang came to the Magicians Association in Qingshan town. He hadn't been back for a long time. President Rhodes is still wearing the aqua blue robe. He sat on the chair alone at night, wondering what kind of things he was thinking about. President Rhodes, long time no see. Zhang Yang greeted with a smile. The first people Zhang Yang has seen since coming to this world can be said to be these people from the Magic Association of Qingshan town, although they were almost killed by them at the beginning. But later, 453 also turned enemies into friends, and everyone's relationship became better and better, especially after not seeing President Rhodes for a few days. Zhang Yang still misses them a little bit. After President Rhodes heard the familiar voice, he stood up with a smile on his face, and laughed when he saw Zhang Yang. Little brother, how come you have time to come back? Rhodes had some experience when he first saw Zhang Yang, because judging by the time, today should be the first day of classes at the Royal Academy of Magic. Zhang Yang appeared here, so he was dismissed, right? But he thought about it again. It is basically impossible. Zhang Yang's strength can be said to be unfathomable. The Royal Academy of Magic is definitely impossible to miss such a talent. I'm just passing by here to see you. How are you doing? You've been doing well recently. Zhang Yang asked caringly. Indeed, as Zhang Yang said, he still has some feelings for Rhodes. After all, this old man is still cute, and he is wholeheartedly good for Qingshan Town. Zhang Yang thinks this is a very sincere person, and he likes to be friends with such a person. President Rhodes just heard Zhang Yang say this, and his eyes were moist. He didn't expect Zhang Yang to be so emotional. Oh, little brother, I thought you would forget about us after you went to the Royal Academy of Magic. Quote. At the beginning, Rhodes insisted on keeping Wang Yushi by Zhang Yang's side, but it was actually a little selfish. After all, at this time, Zhang Yang was easily attracted by other powerful forces and tried to win him over. At that time, there will be no relationship with Qingshan Town at all, then everything they have done will be in vain and a great opportunity will be lost. But now it seems that Zhang Yang is a very nostalgic person. How could it be? I will never forget your kindness. Zhang Yang said with a smile, and then took out the badge of honorary president of Qingshan Town that President Rhodes gave him back then. And even if you don't want to recognize me, I'm the honorary president of Qingshan Town Magic Association. Zhang Yang stepped forward and looked at President Rhodes. President Rhodes didn't know what to say now. After he calmed down, he asked, how is Wang Yushi doing now? His grandfather is very worried. In fact, not only Wang Qing, but Rhodes was also worried about Wang Yushi's situation. After all, this little princess had never left their sight since she was a child. After walking for so many days, she really felt wronged. It's good that Rhodes didn't mention it. Zhang Yang suddenly remembered it. He hurriedly said goodbye to President Rhodes, and then quickly returned to the Royal Academy of Magic. Wang Yushi was actually forgotten by him. If Zhang Yang doesn't go back, she hasn't eaten all the time. But when Zhang Yang hurried back, he didn't find Wang Yushi in the room, which made him very strange. Could it be that she ran out by herself, so what can she do? No, I have to find her today. After all, President Rhodes asked just now, if something goes wrong then it will be very troublesome. So Zhang Yang let go of all his space energy, covering most of the Royal Magic City, but to his great surprise, he still didn't find Wang Yushi. At this time, Zhang Yang was a little worried. Since this was the case, it seemed that he could only resort to the last resort. With a space jump, Zhang Yang came to the outside of the Royal Magic City, and found Nangong Zuntian, who was hiding with almost no effort. When they reached an agreement, they kept their coordinates with each other, presumably because both of them are more sincere. Nangong Zuntian, I heard that you had a dark magic that can find people before. Zhang Yang came up and asked. This was the first time Zhang Yang failed to find anyone using space energy, which made Zhang Yang, who has always been relatively confident, a little uncomfortable, but it was not a big deal. Because in the past few days, Zhang Yang discovered that the magic energy in his body was getting stronger and stronger. It has even reached the point where he can break through the boundaries, so he doesn't have to worry about his own strength at all. But at present, it is most important to find someone first. After all, there is a black magician in the city who is quite powerful. Nangong Zuntian looked at Zhang Yang in surprise. Who are you looking for? In his impression, Zhang Yang is not such an easily excitable person, but now he can feel Zhang Yang's emotional fluctuations. Wang Yushi. Zhang Yang said, making a space imprint, and then said to Nangong Zuntian, do you have a solution? Of course, you wait for a while. Nangong Zunwu had a particularly good impression of him after Zhang Yang gave him a magic spar before. So he directly agreed to Zhang Yang's request when he came up, and after accepting Zhang Yang's space imprint, Nangong Zuntian then began to mobilize the dark energy in his body, and then started the dark search technique. This is a very high-level dark magic, and it consumes a huge amount of energy, but Nangong Zuntian is still willing to help Zhang Yang with this. In addition to Zhang Yang giving him a very precious magic spar, Nangong Zuntian also discovered that Zhang Yang's magic comprehension ability is simply heaven-defying, and the dark energy on him has become so strong after only a few days without seeing him. This is why Nangong Zuntian wanted to help Zhang Yang. Chapter 295. 3. Bears. I found it. She is no longer in the Royal Magic City. Nangong Zuntian let out a long sigh of relief, and then said, she seems to be alone, but it's a bit dangerous. There are several black magicians in that direction. Send me the coordinates. Zhang Yang said with a serious expression on his face. He was really afraid that something might go wrong with Wang Yushi, but he couldn't explain it to Chairman Rhodes. Thank you. After Zhang Yang thanked Nangong Zuntian, he jumped through the space directly to a hillside outside the Royal Magic City. No wonder I couldn't find Wang Yushi no matter how I searched before. It turns out that she is no longer in the Royal Magic City, and it seems that my strength has not diminished. Now I can't think so much anymore. In front of him is a familiar figure. But now Wang Yushi's face is a little pale, and there are still some teardrops in her eyes that haven't completely dried up. What's the matter with you? What are you doing out in the middle of the night? Do you know how worried I am about you? Zhang Yang scolded Wang Yushi as soon as he came up. Wang Yushi was walking well. When Zhang Yang, who rushed out, suddenly startled her, she froze in place, not knowing what to say. She was very sad, because Zhang Yang stayed with Princess Yueyang all day. She felt very lonely, so he wanted to go back to his home. But Qingshan Town is too far away. Wang Yushi realized this problem after walking out, but she has no way to turn back. After all, she lost her way. Yes, Wang Yushi's sense of direction is not very good. She completely forgot her direction not long after leaving the Royal Magic City. Walking alone on this desolate avenue is very lonely. When she saw Zhang Yang, She threw herself into Zhang Yang's arms almost instantly, and yelled with snot and tears, "Oh, I was wrong, I will never run around again, I'm so strange." Zhang Yang originally had a lot to say about Wang Yushi, but when he heard Wang Yushi's tears and this weak little girl, his heart softened. Caressing Wang Yushi's head, Zhang Yang sighed softly, "You're starving, let's go, big brother takes something to eat." Zhang Yang was indeed a little angry at first, after all he really wanted to scold this wayward girl, but now he couldn't bring up the idea of getting angry at all. Wang Yushi hugged Zhang Yang's waist tightly while crying, unwilling to let go no matter what. She thought about it, even if Zhang Yang was with Princess Yueyang, that would be fine, then she would just be Zhang Yang's younger sister for the rest of her life. Because it's scary to be out alone at night, and it's eerie everywhere, like there's something weird about it. While speaking, Zhang Yang led Wang Yushi back to the Royal Magic City. Although it was night, the city was still brightly lit. Zhang Yang found a small stall at random, ordered a meal and placed it in front of Wang Yushi, watching the girl who had been hungry all day eat it up. Can't help but feel a little cute, this girl is really silly, Zhang Yang actually felt a little happy at this moment. Sure enough, the process of experiencing the various states of life is always very beautiful. After waiting for a while, Wang Yushi ate the food in her mouth, covered her stomach and held Zhang Yang's arm very contentedly. "I will never leave you in the future, really." Wang Yushi was very serious when she said this. After today's moment, Wang Yushi really understood that nothing should be too impulsive, otherwise the consequences would be very serious. And seeing Zhang Yang angry because of her, Wang Yushi's heart is still warm. Because this proves that Zhang Yang still has her in his mind, which makes Wang Yushi very happy. "Don't do this in the future." Zhang Yang glanced at him, and then continued, "Princess Yueyang has already made arrangements for you. Tomorrow you will go to the academy with me. We are all in the same class." "Yeah, I listen to you." Wang Yushi didn't care what Zhang Yang said, anyway, she just kept nodding, and now she listened to everything from Zhang Yang, no more temper tantrums. Zhang Yang was very satisfied, he stroked Wang Yushi's hair, and then temporarily sent her back to the place where she lived, because Uranus Yushi did not report to the academy today, so there is no bed for her in the academy. After sending Wang Yushi back, Zhang Yang also returned to the dormitory of the college, but now there is already someone in the dormitory. 0. Seeking flowers. This is a typical 4-person dormitory, which is quite unusual. In such a prestigious place as the Royal Academy of Magic, isn't there a room for one person? Zhang Yang was very strange, but he didn't say anything. After all, no matter how many people live in you, the dormitory is just a place to rest temporarily. "New here, don't you know the rules of our dormitory?" A burly man looked at Zhang Yang and said with a cold snort. The other 3 people in this dormitory look very similar, just like triplets. "The rules of the dormitory, what's that?" Zhang Yang said jokingly. He is really not a dormitory rule. After all, he has lived in a dormitory for so long and has never lived in a dormitory. Besides, the dormitory is just a place to sleep. Are there any rules that must be followed? Zhang Yang is very depressed, these people will not want to make trouble again. "My name is Big Bear, he is Second Bear, he is Little Bear, and we are 3 brothers." Big Bear said, "I warn you, you have to pay for our basic necessities, or I will kill you." Big Bear was lying on his own bed, looking down at Zhang Yang, his eyes were full of nobility. It seems that he already knew that Zhang Yang was a commoner, so he stayed here specially to wait for Zhang Yang to come back. Such an abominable nobleman, his brain seems to have been kicked by a donkey, which is very annoying. Zhang Yang didn't want to care about the Big Bear at all, he found his own bed and went to bed to rest. Although he didn't want to rest, he still wanted to meditate. This time happened to be the time when black magic and space magic were most active. But he didn't want to continue to entangle with Big Bear, so Zhang Yang held his hands together for a while, releasing a water blue light curtain, which directly covered Big Bear's bed, restricted his movement, and isolated the sound inside. Just isolating the Big Bear, Zhang Yang suddenly felt that it was not enough, so he waved his hand twice again, sealing both the Second Bear and the Little Bear on the bed. After finishing these, Zhang Yang sat cross-legged on his bed in peace of mind, and started deep meditation to increase his magical power. Chapter 296 Royal Magic Forest. It wasn't until the next morning when the sun's rays came in from the bedroom window that Zhang Yang woke up from his meditation and looked at the 3 people who had been shrouded in bed all night because of their postures. Zhang Yang didn't feel guilty at all, but the time was coming, and Zhang Yang got up and touched the water seals on Big Bear and the others. After all, class will start soon, if the teacher rolls the roll and finds that there are a few people missing, it will still be very troublesome. Even if he wasn't terribly afraid, these people should also be nobles. If the forces behind them were involved, it would be a big mess. Zhang Yang now wants to experience the joy of going to school in this Royal Academy of Magic, not like causing trouble. The Big Bear who was unsealed didn't even have any anger at all. If it was the same as before, he would have to find someone to kill Zhang Yang every minute. But today he saw that Zhang Yang's strength was simply too frightening. The few of them broke free from this magic seal all night, and they didn't move at all, and the energy was still abundant. What a tyrannical force this must be. However, Da Shang is still not convinced, but he doesn't dare to speak out for the time being. After leaving the dormitory, Zhang Yang went to look for Wang Yushi. After all, today was the first day of school, and Uranus Yushi didn't come yesterday, fearing that she might have made a mistake. It would be bad to delay the class at that time, but Wang Yushi seemed to wake up earlier than him. After the two of them simply ate something in the cafeteria, they walked directly towards the class place. As for Princess Yueyang, she is very self-disciplined. She has already come to the class place, a little earlier than the teachers. There are actually not that many students in a class, especially this is the Royal Academy of Magic, but when he saw the teacher, Zhang Yang couldn't help being taken aback. How could it be him? That's right, this teacher is none other than Lu Shuiliang, whom Zhang Yang subdued with one move a few days ago, and he was the head of the knights around Princess Yueyang. Because Princess Yueyang dismissed him from his position, the family arranged for him to enter the college as a teacher of this grade. There are about 10 students in total, counting Zhang Yang, Wang Yushi, Princess Yueyang, and the three bears from yesterday. Basically there are not many students. The first lesson theory, these basic things Zhang Yang basically remembered very clearly when he came to Magic Continent on the first day. So I slept all the time in class, because Zhang Yang suddenly discovered that if he sleeps at night, he can't recover his magic. But if you sleep during the day, it will automatically attract the power of space, which is quite miraculous. Although he saw Zhang Yang sleeping, Lu Shuiliang didn't dare to disturb him, firstly because he was afraid that Princess Yueyang would trouble him, and secondly because Zhang Yang was indeed very powerful, and he was not sure that he could beat him. And as a teacher, if he can't even subdue a single student, then he will be really ashamed. Fortunately, Zhang Yang gave him face very much. After the first theory class, Zhang Yang woke up from his sleep. Because the second class is actually a practical class, learning in the Royal Magic City is actually different from ordinary learning methods. The biggest difference is that the classes here are actually at random times. Some classes may be finished in 10 minutes, and some classes may even be delayed for a whole day. And Lu Shuiliang is obviously the outdoor teacher. In addition to taking a little theoretical class on the first day, he also took the students to catch a few little spirit beasts in the Royal Magic Forest, so as to exercise the students' control over magic ability. So after the theoretical class was over, they left the Royal Academy of Magic and went to the nearby forest. The surrounding area of the Royal Magic Forest here is basically a circle of spirit beasts raised by the teachers in the academy. So it is very safe. Basically it will not be attacked by spirit beasts, and there will be no danger to life, otherwise it will definitely be attacked by various forces. After all the students who study here are either rich or expensive. If one of them has any problems, it will be over for so long. That's true, even Lu Shuiliang can't bear this tragedy. Of course one of the most important points for him to be a teacher is to protect the safety of Princess Yang. Although Zhang Yang is also very powerful, but Zhang Yang is not a member of the royal family after all. If there is something wrong with Princess Yueyang at that time, it will be very difficult for him to risk his life to protect her. Students, we have reached the outskirts of the Royal Magic Forest. Is there anything else you want to ask? At this time, Lu Shuiliang took the lead in seeking some students' opinions, otherwise it would be a bit embarrassing for someone who doesn't like to fight these spirit beasts. Although he is a teacher, here, his words don't count at all. Sure enough, the next moment Zhang Yang spoke, Mr. Lu, I don't want to fight, can I move around freely? Zhang Yang didn't do it to raise an argument. He really didn't want to fight. After all, the spirit beasts around here are too weak. Even Xiao He can dominate one side if he comes here. There is no essential difference in bullying. So Zhang Yang directly applied for free activities. But Lu Shuiliang actually didn't agree, he immediately refused, and then said, no, you can't leave my sight. Lu Shuiliang is very helpless, his purpose of coming here is to protect Princess Yueyang, if Zhang Yang wants to apply for free activities. Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang will be free to move around, and he has to watch other students. So he chose to refuse, even if the periphery of the Royal Magic Forest was safe, once these people ran inside, the consequences would be disastrous. Lu Shuiliang didn't want to take the risk. You are presumptuous at 4.5, what does he want to do for a long time, and you still refuse? Princess Yang immediately accused. She has always been very quiet, because today is the first day of class, so nothing happened. But since Zhang Yang wants to move freely, let him go, why refuse him? Lu Shuiliang sighed faintly, not knowing what to say, he just nodded lightly, okay, then you all remember to be careful, if anything happens, you must notify me immediately. Lu Shuiliang was very helpless, but there was nothing he could do. He could only pray that Princess Yueyang would not make any mistakes during this process, otherwise he would not be able to do business by then. Losing the mission is not a small matter. If there is any problem with Princess Yueyang's life, then he really has to apologize with death. Chapter 297. Start training. But since things have developed to this point, there is no way. Lu Shuiliang could only take the rest of the students to the edge of the forest to hunt some lower-level spirit beasts to increase their knowledge and learning ability. But Zhang Yang is really not interested in these, he took Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang to explore deeper places. Last time Qingshan Town was able to make friends with such a powerful spirit beast as Xiao He, so wouldn't there be other more powerful spirit beasts in the Royal Magic Forest? Zhang Yang had this idea, but Wang Yushi was a little scared. Zhang Yang big brother, why don't we go back, it feels a bit gloomy inside. Wang Yushi said carefully holding Zhang Yang's arm. Although Wang Yushi's magic talent is very high, but she is a little timid, facing this kind of environment, she still does not want to go. But apart from Zhang Yang wanting to see the outside environment, the more important thing is that he wants to practice Wang Yushi. After all, President Rhodes gave him his favorite granddaughter. He's going to train. But Princess Yueyang07 actually didn't know, so she said, I also think it might be a little dangerous, or we'd better go back. Although Princess Yueyang is more willful, she still takes the overall situation into consideration, because once she encounters any danger, it is a very serious problem. Especially recently, black magicians are rampant. I heard that there are several powerful black magicians lurking in the royal magic city. Don't worry, I'm here, you don't need to be afraid, Zhang Yang said very calmly. He is very confident. Ever since he came into contact with black magic, he can feel that his power has made a qualitative leap every day. Not only black magic, but also space magic. But I'm still a little scared. Wang Yushi said, seeming to be getting more and more worried. She doesn't know why. She always feels a little dangerous, her perception is a little strong. But she is a magician of the water system, which can also be said to be an extension of the water system, the ice system. And Wang Yushi's innate skill is frozen, which roughly means that if there are very powerful magicians around, then Wang Yushi can clearly feel the temperature drop. When she first met Zhang Yang, Wang Yushi could clearly feel the drop in temperature. And then she was able to control it, but now, the feeling of lowering the temperature appeared again. At this time, the three of them had already gone far away, and Lu Shuiliang and the students he led were completely invisible from here. Then, Zhang Yang sat on a tree trunk, looked at the two women with unhappy complexions, and said with a smile, you two, don't be afraid. After speaking, Zhang Yang glanced at Wang Yushi, you are an ice magician, right? Although Wang Yushi had never cast magic in front of Zhang Yang still felt that Wang Yushi's aura was different from Rhodes with his excellent perception. The aura on Rhodes' body was warm and comfortable, while Wang Yushi's body was more cold. Combining the magic books he had read before, it was not difficult for Zhang Yang to guess that Wang Yushi was definitely an ice type. Yeah, how did you know that? Wang Yushi's eyes lit up in disbelief. She never told Zhang Yang, so how did he know? This is too amazing. Originally worshipping Zhang Yang's subject poems, reading Zhang Yang at this time is like looking at the schedule of a fairy. Speaking of this, Princess Yueyang suddenly became interested. In fact, even in the royal family, few people use this special attribute. Most of them are normal gold, wood, water, fire, earth and so on. Because Princess Yueyang has a water attribute, when she heard that Wang Yushi had a special ice attribute, her eyes widened. I'm so envious of you, I also think it's the ice attribute. Princess Yueyang said so. Don't worry, you also have a chance. Zhang Yang said to Princess Yueyang before answering Wang Yushi's words, and then turned to Wang Yushi, then do you want to advance? Wang Yushi froze for a moment, then said, advanced. Why? Wang Yushi didn't know what Zhang Yang meant, and what was advanced. Could it be possible to make her strength go up to a higher level? Your current talent is very strong, the strongest I have ever seen, especially you have a special ice attribute, and your magic energy is very abundant, I am confident that you can become magic within 3 months teacher. Zhang Yang said flatly. What I said, if it was put outside, everyone would probably laugh their teeth out. How old is Wang Yushi? 18 years old, how can she become a magician? Even for some students who normally graduated from the 6th grade of the Royal Academy of Magic, there are very few students who can become magicians. What's more, Wang Yushi is only in the 1st grade now, which is simply too appalling. Princess Yueyang was also stunned. What are you talking about? How is it possible? She was stunned, because it was really an impossible task, but Princess Yueyang understood that Zhang Yang could never be aimless, and she must be sure to speak like this. Wait a minute, I'll tell you about you two. Zhang Yang dismissed Princess Yueyang temporarily, then looked at Wang Yushi and said, do you want to? 603. I want to. Of course I want to. Wang Yushi nodded excitedly. It can be said that she most hopes to become very strong, because in this way she will not be afraid of many things, and she will not be afraid of bad people even when she walks like she is now. Zhang Yang continued, okay, then you go over there, release all the ice attribute energy on your body, and then come back. Zhang Yang ordered. He had this idea a long time ago, if he only becomes stronger, there will be no one by his side in the end, if he is really alone, he will look very lonely, so he has to train a very strong man. Wang Yushi is one of the most suitable candidates. As for Princess Yueyang, it is still to be discussed. After all, Princess Yueyang's life experience is more complicated, unlike Wang Yushi who can always follow her in the future. Although Wang Yushi didn't understand what Zhang Yang was planning to make her do, but she knew that listening to Zhang Yang's words must be right. So she walked to a place not far away very obediently, and began to release ice magic one after another. When it was released, it almost used all its strength, so that there would be a vacancy in the magical energy in the body in a short time, and it would not recover so quickly, just enough to meet what Zhang Yang wanted to achieve. Chapter 298 Water System and Ice System. Following Wang Yushi's departure, Princess Yueyang was a little confused at this moment. Since Wang Yushi had already left, why didn't he talk to herself? Looking at Zhang Yang who was meditating, Princess Yueyang was a little puzzled. But he didn't bother him, because he knew that Zhang Yang was thinking about the problem at this time, and all she could do was to keep quiet as much as possible. Sure enough, after a while, Zhang Yang woke up from his meditation, looked at Princess Yueyang not far away, and opened his mouth and said, do you want to change into another attribute? That's right, Zhang Yang was actually looking for a way to upgrade people's attributes just now, and then he finally found a trace of dark magic. However, he still needs to use space magic to assist him, so that he can change the attributes that a person should have. After hearing Zhang Yang's words, Princess Yueyang even wondered if there was something wrong with her ears again. After all, the issue of talent attribute has been doomed since the voice was spoken, how could it be easily changed? If someone told her so, Princess Yueyang would definitely treat her as a liar and kill him. But now the person opposite is Zhang Yang, so Princess Yueyang asked softly, is there any other way? Because she is really excited, the magic of the water system is really not suitable for her, the aggressiveness is too weak and not strong enough. But the ice system is different. Among the many attributes, the fire system, gold system, and thunder system are the three strongest basic attack attributes. But any upgraded attribute is different. The power that the upgraded attribute can produce is very comprehensive and very powerful. I have a way to make you change, but you have to train with me all the time, and the time may be very long. Zhang Yang said lightly. Zhang Yang does have a way to change the attributes of Princess Yueyang, but starting from today, he must train with him every day. Yes, but there is one requirement, that is, you have to train with me every day. Zhang Yang said. For a princess, this requirement is quite difficult. After all, in the royal family, the princess herself should not be able to decide where she should be. Of course, as long as you can turn me into an ice attribute, I will agree with you no matter what the conditions are. Princess Yueyang said happily. Zhang Yang didn't make any request, he just asked Princess Yueyang to find an open space like Wang Yushi, and release all the magic energy in her body. When there is no magic energy in both bodies, at this time Zhang Yang then used space power to isolate them. Then add dark magic, there will be a qualitative change, and then the strength of the two should have a rapid improvement. This is Zhang Yang's original plan. There are many strong people in this world, such as dynasties, armies, etc. Zhang Yang actually doesn't feel very safe. Now he is in a good environment, and he has not been threatened. Since he met the black magician, his concept has changed, because danger has begun to appear. Once he starts to relax his vigilance, all kinds of dangers and troubles will come up, and it will be very uncomfortable if he doesn't even have the strength to solve the problem. This makes Zhang Yang feel like a stringer who is controlled by others like a puppet, completely at the mercy of others. But now, he has a more perfect plan, which is to train a few powerful people to follow him. After a while, Wang Yushi came back from the side. Despite her high level, the magical energy in her body was released very quickly. Judging from this speed, if she really encountered an enemy, then the strength is simply not enough to support a long battle. This is definitely not possible, but Zhang Yang is also very clear, because Wang Yushi has a special ice attribute, and this attribute is certainly very powerful, and it is very complete in various aspects. However, there is still a very well-known shortcoming, that is, the magic consumption is very huge. If Wang Yushi was an ordinary water magician, then the energy in her body was enough for her to cast double the spells. I'm done, Zhang Yang big brother, what are we going to do now? Wang Yushi walked over a little tired. Now she has completely lost the strength to resist, and now even an ordinary person can kill her. But Wang Yushi has completely entrusted herself to Zhang Yang, so naturally she has no other worries. Zhang Yang glanced at Wang Yushi, and then said, very good, now, you go to absorb the magic energy, and I've already prepared it for you. Just after Princess Yueyang left, Zhang Yang used his magic ability to forge a small area. In this area, he added the Power Emperor of Space. To facilitate Wang Yushi's further absorption of power, I have to say that Zhang Yang's consideration is extremely thoughtful, because although Wang Yushi's talent is very high, the planning foundation is actually not very solid. She can have today's strength, which basically comes from her unique talent. Zhang Yang, on the other hand, opened up a separate place for him to facilitate her pursuit of some magical levels, the solidification of desires, and the subversive comparison of basic magical powers. This was also arranged by Zhang Yang alone so that Wang Yushi could successfully graduate from the Academy of Magic. After all, no one attended Lu Shuiliang's theory class, so Zhang Yang added some theory to this training. After Wang Yushi left, Zhang Yang recounted Princess Yueyang's magic just now, and then said to her, go to the other side and absorb the energy. Zhang Yang indeed has a way, God Zhao, to turn Princess Yueyang into an ice type, but due to natural factors, this situation is more complicated, and if you want to change it, you need a lot of other things. I have to say, yes, very disturbing thing. If it was before, Zhang Yang would have nothing to do, but since he came into contact with dark magic, he has drawn a lot of practical spells from it. One of the black magics is that through long-term energy absorption and exercise, one can achieve the same energy attributes endowed by conversion talents. However, this method is very unsafe. There are many variables in the process of transformation. If one is not well controlled, all previous efforts will be wasted. Everyone's strength will return to the original starting point. But fortunately, Zhang Yang is very strong now, and with the blessing of space, the control here is in place. So he has enough confidence still. Chapter 299, Christian Rin. Princess Yueyang was also very obedient. Even before Zhang Yang spoke, she already knew what she should do, so at this time, she went directly to the other side to absorb the energy of Zhang Yang's quasi-red envelope for her. This energy is actually the energy left after Zhang Yang released his magic during Wang Yushi's training before. Zhang Yang used his powerful space ability and mental power to collect it at that time, and then released it all at this time. Since Wang Yushi is an ice type, then this matter is much easier to handle. In addition to training Wang Yushi, she can also help Princess Yueyang change her own attributes. This is a good thing that kills two birds with one stone. Of course, doing this kind of thing consumes Zhang Yang's mental power very much, so from just now, he has been sitting there resting, and until now, he has just recovered. Fortunately, there is no danger in this place. At this moment, Zhang Yang suddenly sensed something, jumped in space, and came to a place not far away. In front of him, there were two people wrapped in black robes. Their aura is very weak. If Zhang Yang's sensing power is not very strong, maybe they will be ignored. Why are you here? Zhang Yang asked with a somewhat puzzled tone. Because the person in front of him was none other than the black magician Nangong Zuntian whom he had known before. I don't know why they appeared here. Because the current management of the Royal Magic City is very strict. The previous Nangong Zuntian was afraid of this, so he didn't come in for a long time, but kept waiting outside the Royal Magic City, waiting for an opportunity. Zhang Yang, you. Nangong Zuntian was also taken aback when he saw Zhang Yang. When they came this time, they grasped that although the outside of the Royal Magic City is very fortified, the inside is actually very loose. This is how to deal with the sentence: the more dangerous the place, the safer it is. When they came to the Royal Magic Forest this time, they originally wanted to capture a few nobles in exchange for some resources. After all, under the control, the living environment of black magicians is very poor, and almost everyone shouts and beats them. Not to mention daily consumables, things like magic spar are enough to make them uncomfortable. AHCB, say nonsense. If you know it, go. If you don't know it, kill it, don't waste time. Another black magician was a little impatient at this time. After all, he doesn't know Zhang Yang, and he doesn't know how powerful Zhang Yang is. He only knows that if he stays in the Royal Magic Forest for a second longer, he may encounter danger. When they faced Lu Shuiliang before, they wanted to make a move, but because they were afraid that there might be other ambushes, they forcibly held back. At first, they thought that today was another day of no harvest, until just now, they found two girls who were alone. These two girls are not strong, but they must have great status. So after thinking twice, another black magician took Nangong Zuntian and planned to do it. Unexpectedly, just when they arrived here, they ran into an uninvited guest. Zhang Yang stopped them, not knowing what to do. When Nangong Zuntian heard that another black magician wanted to attack Zhang Yang, his expression was very strange, but he didn't say anything. Zhang Yang was a little surprised, and then said jokingly, "You hit me." Although Zhang Yang's current strength has been weakened a lot, he is still not afraid of these so-called black magicians. Let alone other things, he has deepened his understanding of black magic a lot. Before Nangong Zuntian taught him Shadow Bolt and Shadow Reincarnation, Zhang Yang not only grandmastered these two dark magics, but also developed his own research fusion. But in this kind of place, it is obviously not suitable to release black magic, because once the teacher from the Royal Academy of Magic is recruited, Zhang Yang will be very troublesome. Why? Are you very good? Another black magician was very arrogant. Of course he didn't take Zhang Yang seriously. At this time, Nangong Zuntian came out quite appropriately to smooth things over. Forget it, let's go. From the first time Nangong Zuntian met Zhang Yang, he was very aware of the strength of this person, so he never chose to provoke this murderer. At that time, he understood that Zhang Yang is definitely not a hot person, just like a few masters of black magic. Zhang Yang originally wanted to continue teasing, but he suddenly thought of something. His face changed drastically. Wait, you guys are here. It's not for those two little girls, is it? That's right, this idea came to Zhang Yang suddenly, because before Lu Shuiliang brought other students to train outside, with Lu Shuiliang here, these two people should not dare to go too far. But both Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang are alone. In addition, Zhang Yang's aura was well hidden, and it was impossible for ordinary people to discover the existence of Zhang Yang. That's right, you're right, if you're sensible, get out of here. Another black magician said arrogantly. He was one of the more impetuous types among the black magicians. Facing a young man like Zhang Yang, he didn't take action directly. It was already very face-saving. Hearing this answer, Zhang Yang's complexion immediately turned gloomy and cold. Very well, you have gone too far. For Zhang Yang, Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang have obviously become his best friends. These people want to harm these two people. How could Zhang Yang let them go so easily? Not to mention anything else, just fighting with the black magician has already satisfied him. Nangong Zuntian saw that he couldn't hold back anymore, so he took 2 steps back very cleverly, leaving some space for Zhang Yang. And Zhang Yang's speed was also very fast. Almost after he finished speaking, a space blade condensed in his hand and flashed behind another black mage in an instant. The sharp edge of the space blade was only 2 centimeters away from the other black mage's neck. If another black mage did something else just now, his life might be lost here. Another black magician stared at the boss. He was scared, and begged for mercy. I made a mistake and I dare not do it again. Nangong Zuntian at the side couldn't help shaking his head. He told you that Zhang Yang is not easy to mess with, and you still insist on offending this killing god. Isn't that just asking for trouble? Another black magician almost knelt down to Zhang Yang. Well, this little brother, let's get to know each other again. My name is Christian Rin, and I come from the Western World Chapter 300, Dark Magic. When Zhang Yang heard this name, he was obviously taken aback. Why is the magic continent divided into East and West? Moreover, this person's name is indeed the name of a Westerner. Seeing Zhang Yang, Christian Rin was a little puzzled, and quickly explained, our Temple of Black Magic is in the West, and we are the creators of black magic. When Christian Rin said this, he was very proud, as if they were particularly powerful in the West. Zhang Yang didn't intend to deal with this mentally handicapped person, but Nangong Zuntian agreed, it's true what Christian Rin said. Most of the black magic we learn is from the Western world. Because the Orthodox East learns magic such as gold, wood, water and fire, and only the West has this evil sect. They are eager for success, so they practice this kind of magic method that hurts others and themselves, but it has been passed down for so many years. This kind of magic has become popular in the East, and it has been extended and strengthened, and it has become more perfect in a system. Okay. I don't care what you are doing, these two little girls, you can't move anymore, hurry up, don't wait for me to get angry. Zhang Yang withdrew the space blade and stepped back. After all, Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang were still behind him, and they were very fragile when they absorbed energy for the first time, so I couldn't let them be disturbed at this time. It's easy to waste all previous efforts and let them get back to their original state, then Zhang Yang's efforts today are really in vain. Christian Rin nodded. He knew that Zhang Yang had actually let him live, so he continued, we will be in the Royal Magic Forest for a few days, if you need any help, just come to just find us. At this moment, Christian Rin finally understood why Nangong Zuntian had such a good attitude towards Zhang Yang, because he was the same now, if Zhang Yang wanted to, he could kill them instantly. That's why he took the initiative to show his favor to Zhang Yang, otherwise if this person changed his mind at that time, he would not be able to run away even if he wanted to. Not to mention that this is still the Royal Magic City, there are many guards, even if Zhang Yang doesn't kill them with his own hands, then there will be people who come after them to clean up. Then let's go first, contact me anytime if you have anything to do. Nangong Zuntian said softly. Then they left here with Christian Rin, and they hid in the darkness again, looking for someone who could be punished. Zhang Yang is naturally too lazy to care about them, but he is very interested in the black magic that Christian Rin said before. After 2 days to deal with Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang, I will come to chat with him, take a look, maybe there will be something else to gain. After Zhang Yang solved this matter, the energy absorption of Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang was almost the same. Wang Yushi's speed is obviously faster, because her talent is very high, slightly higher than that of Princess Yang. When she woke up, she looked at Zhang Yang very happily, and said with a smile, Zhang Yang big brother, I broke through, you are so amazing. Wang Yushi really didn't expect to be able to break through so quickly in a short period of time. It was like flying into the sky. I don't know what kind of method Zhang Yang used. All in all, Wang Yushi felt very comfortable. This kind of cultivation method was unprecedented. If she could do this every time, her strength would definitely improve by leaps and bounds. Zhang Yang waited for Wang Yushi to adjust the breath before asking Princess Yueyang to explain the benefits of this energy absorption. However, Princess Yueyang seems to be more introverted. In this respect, she is not as good at describing as Wang Yushi. She still simply absorbs the energy released by Zhang Yang and then begins to adjust her inner structure. Then, Lu Shuiliang came over to inform Zhang Yang that get out of class was over and they could move freely. Basically, there will be no big changes in this week's class. Zhang Yang thought it was very good, at least he didn't have to go to school every day to take the same courses. Originally, Zhang Yang was looking forward to learning some magic in the academy. But it may be because they are only in the first grade now, and the teachers in the college basically only talk about some theoretical knowledge, which is why Zhang Yang still teaches them by himself. But there is another one, that is the college exam, because there will be a grade evaluation every month, and only if you can pass the credits will you accumulate credits, otherwise when you graduate, if you don't have enough credits, you will not be able to officially graduate and enter the next stage. 0. Seeking flowers. As for Lu Shuiliang, the first grade teacher, he has told Zhang Yang, Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang not to go to class during this period, as long as they complete the final exam. Zhang Yang was naturally happy to be at leisure. During this period of time, he took Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang to exercise in the Royal Magic Forest, honed and gradually improved his strength. Wang Yushi's strength improved so quickly that even Zhang Yang was a little surprised. It seems that this girl's future development is really limitless. President Rhodes has someone to succeed her. On the contrary, Princess Yueyang only completed the transformation of attributes during this period, so she didn't improve her strength. It seems that the final exam still needs Zhang Yang's help. After completing these, Zhang Yang went deep into the Royal Magic Forest again. He came this time to find Christian Rin, because apart from the dark magic that Zhang Yang learned from Nangguan Wife Fur, and the magic mastered by Christian Rin should be much stronger than Nangong Zuntian. Although dark magic and dark magic are two systems, they have the same goal by different routes. They are both powerful and self-damaging tricks. Zhang Yang just wanted to use some of the more useful spells, just like he used to change the attributes of Princess Yueyang. In comparison, although the dark magic is relatively powerful, compared with the power of space controlled by Zhang Yang, there is still a little distance. Are you there, Christian Rin? Zhang Yang came to a spacious place and began to call loudly. After a while, Christian Rin appeared. He had told Zhang Yang where he was hiding, so naturally he would not hide from Zhang Yang at this time. This time, what do you need from me? Christian Rin said lightly. Although Zhang Yang's strength is very strong, Christian Rin has also considered it afterward. The two of them are friends now, so there is no need to be cautious. Chapter 301. The Silly Big Bear. Can I trouble you to teach me a dark magic circle? Zhang Yang asked. In orthodox magic, space magic has a teleportation array, but the space energy generated in this teleportation array is so powerful that ordinary people cannot pass through it at all, which makes Zhang Yang very uncomfortable. After all, if he wants to go to a place, he can leave at any time, but Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang can't clearly go or go back. Christian Rin thought for a while, not knowing what to say. What, is it troublesome? Zhang Yang asked. He actually didn't come here with great expectations, he just wanted to chat with Christian Rin. If there is, it must be very good, if not, it's nothing to do with dark magic. 540, yes, but it's more complicated. Christian Rin said with some embarrassment. Because this kind of formation actually exists in dark magic, but Christian Rin doesn't know it, because it is a relatively high-end spell, and people at his level cannot accept it. It's okay to be complicated, just tell me. Zhang Yang said calmly. At this time, Zhang Yang was very happy, because no matter what, Zhang Yang still obtained this information, which made him very happy. I can't tell you for the time being, because the books on this subject are no longer with me, but I can find them for you. Christian Rin frowned, as if there was something hard to say. Christian Rin is indeed as he said, this book is no longer with him, but in the hands of one of his enemies. It is an ancient secret book, and they have fought against each other many times. Christian Rin has always wanted this, but the strength of the two sides is actually about the same, so they can only draw each time, so they never got this. Well, tell me where it is, and I'll get it. Zhang Yang didn't intend to wait. Well, 3 days later, outside the city, you wait for me, and I will take you there. Christian Rin's eyes suddenly lit up. Originally, he was still a little uncomfortable, because Zhang Yang mentioned his enemy. But now, he seemed to be able to take revenge, which made his originally melancholy face full of sunshine in an instant. Zhang Yang said, very well, remember to look for me. After saying this, Zhang Yang left the royal magic forest. Since Christian Rin has already said so, there is no rush, so let's wait for 3 days for now. Back in the dormitory, Zhang Yang saw the familiar people again, the big bear, the second bear, and the little bear. The three of them now are not as arrogant as they were when they first met Zhang Yang, especially after Lu Shuiliang's education. When the three of them were in class, they asked Zhang Yang, Wang Yushi, and Princess Yueyang why they could not be used for class. And Lu Shuiliang's answer is that they are of a high level, so they don't need to be favored at all. Ershang and Xiaoshang are relatively timid. After hearing the news, they dare not have any psychological hostility towards Zhang Yang, so when they see Zhang Yang again, they even feel a little groveling. But Big Bear was different, he was like a big fool, no matter whether Zhang Yang was strong or not, he would stand in front of Zhang Yang when he came up. Started shouting, you must apologize to me today, or I will kill you. Dashang's family is aristocratic, although the family background of Princess Yueyang is not the same, but it is not much different. He has never been wronged like this, which makes him very uncomfortable. The last time he was locked up for a whole night, Big Bear felt an unprecedented humiliation. Then what if I don't apologize to you? Zhang Yang gave him a blank look and replied. Zhang Yang, who was still very angry at first, laughed angrily when he saw the big bear who was so dumb. Sometimes there are too many idiots, and it is really a very interesting thing. Then I'll hit you and apologize. Big Bear sneered, then clapped his hands. Come out, give him some color. As soon as Big Bear finished speaking, 3 strong men came out of the bedroom next to them. These are the knights specially hired by Big Bear to take revenge on Zhang Yang. Sexy knights come to beat you. Big Bear is indeed a very vengeful person. Zhang Yang didn't even look at it. He just waved his hand and sent the 3 strong men flying. Then Zhang Yang looked at the big bear and said, why, what other tricks do you have? If you don't have one, don't delay my sleep. Zhang Yang smiled, pushed the dazed bear, walked to his bed and lay down. Since the last time he experienced the relief from sleep, Zhang Yang has basically stopped meditating at night, because the energy provided by meditation and sleep is actually not much different, so naturally Zhang Yang has no reason not to go to sleep. In addition, during this period of time, Zhang Yang was doing his best to help Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang improve their strength, which consumed a lot of mental power every day, which also made Zhang Yang have to come back to rest every night. Because there are indeed many advantages brought by meditation, but meditation requires mental energy. Once the mental power is insufficient, Zhang Yang's strength will be greatly reduced, including the use of space magic, and so on. The current Zhang Yang needed a period of time to recharge his batteries, otherwise he would not be able to face Christian Rin's enemies. That's why today, he chose to come to the dormitory to sleep, which also gave Big Bear a chance to take revenge, but this Big Bear is also stupid, he really just found a few first-year knights to ambush Zhang Yang. If you find a few first-grade teachers, you might still have a chance to make Zhang Yang feel a little bit more uncomfortable, but if you are a student, even if you work together to get 4.6, you can't beat Wang Yushi alone, let alone Zhang Yang. Yang up. The Big Bear who was at a disadvantage was given another spell by Zhang Yang before he could even react. Zhang Yang had no choice but to. After all, it would be a bit uncomfortable if he was disturbed more than this while sleeping. But the second bear and the little bear are more obedient, they didn't join forces with the big bear. Zhang Yang's current strength improvement has also slowed down a little. The main reason is that the space magic has reached a bottleneck. The space power obtained from the space crack that time needs to be realized again. Zhang Yang's plan is to start studying space magic after returning from Christian Rin's enemies this time, so as to improve his strength to a higher level. Chapter 302. The magical green mountain. In the past few days, because Zhang Yang has to recharge his energy, even the training of Wang Yuxi and Princess Yueyang has been put on hold temporarily. After all, he still has a more important thing to do. After staying in the dormitory for 2 days, Zhang Yang locked up Big Bear for a few days. He wanted to let this ignorant guy eat his pants, so that he wouldn't look for trouble next time. He never let go of Big Bear. Zhang Yang didn't care about Big Bear even when he was leaving in the morning. He had stayed at the Royal Academy of Magic for so many days, and he hadn't seen Xiao He, so Zhang Yang decided to take advantage of this time. You must go back and take a look first, otherwise you will go to Christian Rin to learn the formation. Then I have to go back to the Royal Academy of Magic exams, and the school exams after that will probably take a lot of time, and I feel more and more that time is not enough. Zhang Yang suddenly felt that among the 3 original forces, the power of time should be very useful, but this power is much higher than space, and he still doesn't know how to find this power. But Zhang Yang 07 felt that there must be some clues to be found on this magical continent. After all, his power of space can be sensed here, which means that the other 2 powers must also be possible. Chaos and time, this is Zhang Yang's future plan. After all, if these 2 abilities are combined, then the other basic energies will be easily resolved. After dealing with these matters, Zhang Yang returned to Qingshan town. He became more and more proficient in controlling the power of space, so the distance of space jumping became farther and farther. In the past, when returning from the Royal Academy of Magic, it was basically necessary to use 4 or 5 consecutive space jumps on the way, but now, 2 or 3 times is enough. This shows that Zhang Yang's strength is steadily rising even if he does not exercise seriously, which is very good. As his strength improved, Zhang Yang became more and more comfortable controlling the Royal Magic City. Even if the owner of the city was a magister, he would not feel any oppression because of it. With him, if he wanted to cause trouble in the Royal Magic City, he would definitely be able to escape unscathed. Blackie, where have you been? Zhang Yang crossed Qingshan town and came to the nearby forest. Xiao He said that he was only active here. But today, when Zhang Yang first arrived, he didn't immediately sense Xiao He's existence, which made Zhang Yang very strange. With his current strength, how could he fail to sense such a small forest? Unless Xiao He is no longer in this place, it's hard to say. But that's impossible, Zhang Yang told Xiao He before. Without his order, Xiao He is not allowed to leave and go to other places. Because there are still a lot of strong people in this magic continent, if Zhang Yang is gone, Xiao He is likely to be in danger. After all, it is a dual attribute divine beast, basically no longer in the category of spirit beasts. In addition to inheriting Zhang Yang's space attribute, it can be said that the current Xiao He is already a 3 attribute divine beast, which is extremely powerful. Wait, space. Zhang Yang suddenly thought of something, and then the corners of his mouth started to rise. At first, he thought that Xiao He went out to play regardless of his order, but now, he had other thoughts. Come out, I know you're here. Zhang Yang suddenly called out of nowhere. Because Xiao He has the power of space, and he has the same attribute energy as Zhang Yang, so if Xiao He wants to completely hide his strength, it will take a little effort for Zhang Yang to find it. Sure enough, as soon as Zhang Yang finished speaking, Xiao He had already appeared from the space next to him. As soon as he came, the aura on his body stunned Zhang Yang. This guy is already at the 4th level. Zhang Yang found that Xiao He was really fierce. During this period of time, he just went to exercise with Wang Yuxi and Princess Yueyang and completely ignored Xiao He. The last time it was the energy provided to Xiao He when he was a black mage, now it seems that Xiao He's talent is also very explosive. No wonder, this guy was already a dual attribute spirit beast before he came here, which can be said to be the only one in the entire magic world. Not a strong talent can have ghosts, this makes Zhang Yang very happy. It seems that his luck is still good, just came across such a magical spirit beast. Walking in the forest with Xiao He for a while, Zhang Yang and Xiao He talked about the power of space together. In fact, the 2 people still have a lot of common topics in this aspect. Although Xiao He can't speak, they signed a contract after signing the master-servant contract. Soul-level communication can be carried out at this time. Naturally, there are a lot of things to say together. Not only Xiao He, Zhang Yang also gained a lot of knowledge about the control of the power of space here. It has to be said that he must always pay attention to Xiao He's strength in the future. While helping Wang Yuxi and Princess Yueyang, it is necessary to strengthen Xiao He's strength. It seems that every night in the future, he will have to find a few heinous criminals to deal with. Zhang Yang is not a black magician in the true sense, so when it comes to killing people, he will definitely not kill those innocent people. If he does so, he will feel bad in his heart. Since innocent civilians can't be killed casually, we have to choose 990 people who are more evil, which makes Zhang Yang a little troublesome. At that time, Zhang Yang still needs to go to some underground investigation organizations to learn more about the information. After communicating with Xiao He, Zhang Yang wandered around Qingshan town for a while, only to realize that the place where he was first teleported to was not so peaceful. The reason why Qingshan town can become Qingshan is because there is a Qingshan on the outskirts of the forest. This mountain is very high and the inside is very dangerous. It is said that people in Qingshan town once wanted to explore inside Qingshan, but in the end no one found it, nor could they explore the mystery of it. Even President Rhodes has never entered it, and it is said that there is something even more powerful guarding it, like a mountain god. President Rhodes, why are you here? Zhang Yang asked in surprise. Unknowingly, Zhang Yang has wandered to the front of Qingshan, that is to say, there are so many legendary stories about this mountain, but many people don't know what is dangerous in it. President Rhodes was also a little surprised. Zhang Yang, when will you come? President Rhodes would come to meditate in front of the Green Hill after a while, because he had long thought about this Green Hill, but he had been troubled by the fact that he couldn't get in. Chapter 303 Mercenary Union. I just came back to take a look sometime. Zhang Yang replied, and then asked, is this mountain a bit strange? When Zhang Yang saw this mountain, he had already released his mental power and was going to investigate inside, wanting to find out what was so strange about it. But when Zhang Yang's mental power was just released into it, it was blocked and he couldn't go deep into it at all. This made him very strange, not to mention seeing President Rhodes now, it made him feel more about this green mountain. Oh, is that so? This mountain is really strange. Several of our previous presidents tried to go in, but none of them succeeded. President Rhodes said, and sighed. Maybe more uncomfortable. Every time President Rhodes wanted to go in, he would be blocked by a mysterious force. He had a hunch that he might not be able to enter until his strength reached a certain level. But now that Zhang Yang is here, Chairman Rhodes suddenly feels that there should be a chance. Zhang Yang, do you know what's inside this mountain? President Rhodes asked excitedly. Zhang Yang looked at Qingshan for a while, and then continued, I think it's a bit hanging, maybe it's not good. Zhang Yang frowned. That was indeed the case. He did not perfunctory President Rhodes, because just now, he used his spiritual power to detect Qingshan again. But it was still blocked, even if he added the power of space to his spiritual power. This makes Zhang Yang very helpless. Generally speaking, his power of space is very strong. There is basically no one in this world that can shield Zhang Yang's spiritual power, but the inside of this mountain is very strange. It is like a closed area inside, and everything outside can be clearly sensed. But there seems to be an egg in the middle, and it is completely impossible to further understand it. President Rhodes couldn't help but sigh when he heard what Zhang Yang said, even you can't help it, it seems that when I'm alive, I can't go in and find out. 17. Don't worry about President Rhodes. Zhang Yang narrowed his eyes and looked at the green hill opposite. It won't be long, half a year or a year at most, and I will take you in. Zhang Yang is full of information. Even if this mountain can block his own perception, once the dark energy and the power of space can be united and enter together, no matter how powerful a person is, they can't stop him. What's more, Zhang Yang's strength lies here. After he has thoroughly studied the dark magic, he will be able to grasp both the power of space and the power of attributes. Then I'm relieved, President Rhodes said happily. His mood was really ups and downs. Fortunately, Zhang Yang was very strong, and Rhodes still believed in it, so naturally he didn't say much. Is there anything else, President? Zhang Yang suddenly turned around and asked. It's nothing, do you have anything? President Rhodes asked with some doubts. Is there a mercenary group in Qingshan town? Take me to see it. Zhang Yang said casually. This time, Zhang Yang planned to see if there was such an underground organization to look up information on. If he really wanted to kill someone, it would be good to start with the bad guys in Qingshan town. Mercenary Regiment. Guild leader Rhodes thought for a moment, and then continued, there are, but I will take you to see them later. Although President Rhodes didn't know what Zhang Yang wanted to do, since he could use the mercenary group, it must not be a good thing. Fortunately, the magician and the mercenary group are actually an official cooperation, so President Rhodes is still very convincing in this regard. Zhang Yang said, okay, then let's go now. Zhang Yang activated the space magic while speaking, and took Rhodes back to Qingshan town. The reason why he couldn't lead people before was because Wang Yushi's strength was very weak, but Rhodes' full-length mentality and physical strength can withstand the fluctuations brought about by the power of space. The first time he was led by Zhang Yang to use space magic, President Rhodes felt very surprised. He had never seen this kind of magic before. This value is amazing. You must know that he is a magician of the water system. In the water system, there is also a skill similar to Water Phantom, which can perform alien transposition, but President Rhodes has never seen Zhang Yang's ultra-long-distance teleportation. After President Rhodes landed, he patted Zhang Yang on the shoulder. Little brother is amazing, amazing, what kind of a tribute is this happening? Zhang Yang said with a smile, I haven't seen it before, do you want me to teach you? Zhang Yang is now like an old film walking the rivers and lakes, as if he was trying to fool President Rhodes like he was fooling a child. President Rhodes gave Zhang Yang a malicious look, backquote, don't tease me, an old man, I'm already old, it would be great if you can teach Wang Shi. Chairman Rhodes had this idea when he asked Wang Yushi to follow Zhang Yang, so even Wang Qing agreed. After all, Zhang Yang's strength is unfathomable, and if he is by Zhang Yang's side at this time, if Zhang Yang becomes successful in the future, he will definitely not forget Wang Yushi. Well, don't worry, now your precious granddaughter's strength has improved by leaps and bounds. I guess it won't be long before she can become a magician. Zhang Yang said confidently. What? President Rhodes was stunned. He couldn't believe Zhang Yang's words at all. Although Wang Yushi's talent was very strong, at the beginning, Wang Yushi actually only had a 7th-level magician apprentice. Impossible to advance to Qian Wang. And now Wang Yushi is almost reaching the magician. President Rhodes didn't know what to say. Zhang Yang's strength was too terrifying. Not only his own strength is unfathomable, but he can also help others improve, which is simply too terrifying. It seems that it was very wise to give Wang Yushi to Zhang Yang. I can't believe it. When I bring her back to see you, you will understand. Zhang Yang was perfunctory at first, and then continued, let's go, take me to see the mercenary union first. The purpose of Zhang Yang's visit this time was actually for the mercenary union. As for taking a look at Xiao He, it was an accident. He didn't expect that Xiao He's growth would be so fast, and he didn't know what level Xiao He would reach in the future. As for the magical place Qingshan, Zhang Yang will come back sooner or later to find out. Chapter 304. Chairman Zhou Wensheng. Qingshan town still has a relatively high reputation in this area. Although the president of the Magicians Association is not very powerful, the strength of the entire Qingshan town is very strong, not too strong, just like the surrounding Yangxing town and Yulai Huajun, their presidents are relatively strong. However, it is not very good in management. Therefore, the mercenary group has flourished in Qingshan town, and has an upright management and administration office, but in other places, there are no such things. In Yangxing town and Yuehuo town, the mercenary unions are actually not popular, and they are not recognized. Their reputation is also very bad. Although they are not as popular as black magicians, they are not allowed and expressed on the surface. This time I took you to a simple administrative department. They are not very strong. Do you have anything necessary? President Rhodes said. In fact, he couldn't guess what Zhang Yang wanted to do, because what the mercenary union could do, the magician union could do, and what the mercenary union couldn't do, the magician union could do. So President Rhodes was a little puzzled, why didn't he ask himself to help? It's okay, I have a little personal matter, and the meeting will take care of it. Zhang Yan said. Of course Zhang Yang knew what Chairman Rhodes was thinking, but a place like the Magicians Association is called an association, and he can't make the decision alone. There are many managers below. And some personal information cannot be disclosed, otherwise there will be some troubles. President Rhodes also nodded, and then brought Zhang Yang to the mercenary union, and then left by himself. After all, after living for so many years, Chairman Rhodes still has some vision. Since Zhang Yang has to deal with some personal matters, he will not be a light bulb here. Then Zhang Yang walked in alone. The mercenary union was actually very simple, not as brilliant as the Wizards Association. It was just a simple small courtyard with no one in it. Walking through the yard, there is a small room with a few simple signs, and an old man stands beside the counter with gray hair and a happy expression. Seeing Zhang Yang coming in, the old man raised his eyelids and said, "You were introduced by that old guy Rhodes." 11. Zhang Yang nodded. Judging from the tone, it seemed that the relationship with the mercenary union and President Rhodes seemed very close. "My name is Zhou Wensheng. You can call me Chairman Zhou. If you have anything to say, hurry up." Zhou Wensheng seemed a little impatient. In his opinion, there must be nothing special about this young man, and since President Rhodes introduced him, it must have something to do with it. What Zhou Wensheng hated the most were these bullying guys. So although he has a good relationship with President Rhodes, he still doesn't have a good face when he sees Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang was not stupid, so he could naturally see why Zhou Wensheng treated him like this. So Zhang Yang took out 300,000 magic coins from his pocket and put them on the counter. Can I be more specific now? Zhang Yang's money was given to him by Princess Yueyang before, because Zhang Yang did add some elements of the ice element to Princess Yueyang's magic attributes. Although it has not been completely converted, it has already made Princess Yueyang very happy. That's why she gave Zhang Yang a lot of money. Zhang Yang didn't intend to take it, but Princess Yueyang kept insisting, so there was nothing he could do. So Zhang Yang finally accepted the money, although it may not be necessary. But today, Zhang Yang did find the correct use of the money. Before coming here, Zhang Yang knew that these mercenary unions were actually very poor. It can be clearly seen just by looking at the environment, so Zhang Yang had a sudden idea, took out a sum of money and handed it to Zhou Wensheng. Sure enough, Zhou Wensheng's eyes widened when he saw the money in Zhang Yang's hand. Then, he said with a smile, "My customer, what can I do for you?" This kind of attitude changed so quickly that Zhang Yang was a little surprised. It seemed that the skins of these old men were really thicker than those of young people. Although Zhou Wensheng didn't know what Zhang Yang was, the current mercenary union was really short of money, whether it was construction or characters, it was very scarce. 0. Seeking flowers. I want to know the information. Qingshan Town, Moonfire Town, and Yangxing Town, are there any evildoers in these three towns? Zhang Yang said. This has been Zhang Yang's plan for a long time. As he also has some black magic energy, he can't show this energy too much in other places for the time being, otherwise it will bring some unnecessary troubles if someone is aware of it. So choosing people among these three towns is the best result. Of course, there are many of them. Zhou Wensheng replied immediately. Because their mercenary union just accepts an underground order, whether it is the employer or the person who wants to perform the task, in fact, they are more or less carrying some human lives. Zhou Wensheng originally thought that Zhang Yang would have some difficult tasks, but now it seems that this is simply giving away money for nothing. Zhang Yang found a stool and sat down, then continued, "This should be a lot of money. I want to have some lists for a long time. Today, can I have 3? Zhang Yang's plan was actually very simple, he couldn't kill people on a large scale, so he chose a long-term and planned method of killing people. But in this kind of place, Zhou Wensheng is obviously better than him, and he is full of experience, like a local snake. Zhang Yang can't guarantee that what he does will not show any lies. But if Zhou Wensheng wipes his ***, then everything will be settled. After all, he is the first person he found in this place and has such a powerful personality. 5. Yes, Zhang Yang discovered Zhou Wensheng's strength when he first came in. This person who looks to be the same age as President Rhodes is very powerful, at least a few levels stronger than President Rhodes. It seems that the strength of Qingshan Town is not supported by President Rhodes alone. With Zhou Wensheng, their strength will be even stronger. For example, Zhang Yang couldn't see exactly how many people there were in this mercenary union, but Zhang Yang knew that there should be quite a few people in this area. Because Zhang Yang's perception ability is extremely powerful, but this mercenary union should have some kind of formation, which can isolate the perception ability. Chapter 305. Moon Sun Palace. It seems that this mercenary union is not a vegetarian either, at least in terms of strength, it is still worthy of recognition, so Zhang Yang is relieved and no longer thinks about these issues. For the next time, just wait for Zhou Wensheng to integrate all the materials and send them to him. Zhou Wensheng was very fast. Almost after Zhang Yang finished speaking, he sent out a message. If nothing unexpected happened, he should be able to filter out the list of useful characters within 2 days. Zhang Yang is not in a hurry right now, all he has given Zhou Wensheng enough time, after all, Xiaohe has just advanced, and the remaining energy needs to stabilize his current form. If killing people rashly now increases Xiaohe's energy, it may be counterproductive. So Zhang Yang was not in a hurry, not to mention that Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang were waiting for him in the Royal Academy of Magic, and 437 hadn't been trained for several days. So Zhang Yang plans to give them special training tonight. After all, it won't be long before it should be the first exam of the first year of the Royal Academy of Magic. This exam is more important, and we must not lose the chain. So, after bidding farewell to Zhou Wensheng, and going to the Association of Magicians to say goodbye to President Rhodes, Zhang Yang used the space jump again to return to the Royal Academy of Magic. According to memory, Zhang Yang came to the place where Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang were originally arranged to train, but now there seems to be only one person's shadow here. When Zhang Yang came to him, he realized that this person was Wang Yushi. It could be seen that Wang Yushi worked very hard. Wang Yushi, why are you here alone? Zhang Yang walked up to him and asked. According to the original plan, Princess Yueyang should also be here. If her training course is a few days short, it will easily affect the attribute conversion, and it will be very troublesome at that time. If the energy goes out of order, no matter whether it is water or ice energy, Princess Yueyang will not be able to sense it. This makes Zhang Yang very worried, and he really does not want this to happen. Seeing Zhang Yang coming, Wang Yushi immediately stopped to absorb the magic energy, and then took the initiative to answer. Princess Yueyang seems to have something to do at home, so I will go back first, and I will practice here first. Wang Yushi was talking, as if she suddenly thought of something, and then said, Princess Yueyang also said, if you come back, can I invite you to the same Yueyang palace? Although Wang Yushi didn't know what Princess Yueyang meant by her words, she said them very seriously, and it could be seen that something important happened. Moreover, Princess Yueyang seemed a little worried, so Wang Yushi immediately spoke after seeing Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang nodded, instructed Wang Yushi to absorb the magic energy, and then thought about it. Moon Sun Palace, there shouldn't be anything easy to happen in a place like this. If I go there now, will I get burned? Even if I don't, there will be a lot of troublesome things, and it will be very inconvenient at that time. Zhang Yang's mood is still a bit tangled. After all, he is a person who doesn't like to be restrained, but there is nothing he can do now. Princess Yueyang is very sincere, and she treats herself like a little sister. Moreover, the relationship between Princess Yueyang and Wang Yushi seemed to be much better now, which made Zhang Yang have to think about it too much. After all, he scolded him now that he was also a son-in-law. Princess Yueyang's business is her own business. After thinking about it for a long time, Zhang didn't go to Yueyang Palace. The Yueyang Palace is located next to the Royal Magic City. Although it is not far away, generally no one will enter or leave this place. After all, this is the territory that belongs exclusively to King Yueyang, and ordinary people cannot enter it privately without approval. There is also a similar layer above the Yueyang Palace, so Zhang Yang can't jump in directly through the space, but has to go through the main entrance. The main entrance of Yueyang Palace was guarded by a pair of guards. Zhang Yang walked slowly to the door and said, open the door, I am the son-in-law. A few guards look at me, I look at you, and look at Zhang Yang as if looking at a fool. This person must be sick. But even so, they still did not let Zhang Yang in, but said, do you have the approval note from King Yueyang? If not, please leave. You are not welcome here. The duty of these guards is to stop people, because Zhang Yang is a new face, they usually know people who go in and out of Yueyang Palace, but they have never seen Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang had a bit of a headache this time, he couldn't use the space to jump in directly, and he didn't have the approval note from King Yueyang, so it's possible that he has to wait here. How is that possible? My own time is very precious, how can I easily waste it in this place? Zhang Yang is also very strange. Since it was Princess Yueyang who asked Wang Yushi to tell him that he must come to this place, why didn't he prepare an approval note? With Princess Yueyang's brain, she shouldn't have thought of this. Just when Zhang Yang was puzzled, suddenly, the gate of Yang Palace opened and a peerless beauty like a fairy descended from the inside out. Zhang Yang, come here, I have something to see you. Princess Yueyang shouted happily. This incident was indeed Princess Yueyang's mistake. When Wang Yushi was informed, Princess Yueyang did not leave a note of approval. But when she returned to Yueyang Palace, she couldn't get out, so there was no other way. You're finally here, I thought I was going to be a guard here too. Zhang Yang shrugged helplessly. Those guards were really conscientious. 3.6 Zhang Yang didn't mean to blame them. After all, they were able to complete their essential work. After Princess Yueyang came, the group of guards released them naturally. They never thought that the person they stopped just now was actually a son-in-law, which made them very worried. If Zhang Yang settles the score after the autumn, none of them can escape, so one or two of them are silent, waiting at the door like a child who has made a mistake, lowering their heads to welcome Zhang Yang in. Princess Yueyang brought Zhang Yang to a large hall. In the middle of the hall sat an imposing middle-aged man. When he saw Zhang Yang, he immediately said, "You are the one who won the championship in the 3 towns." Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang immediately replied, neither humble nor overbearing, "Yes." Chapter 306. The provincial capital among the royal clans. Zhang Yang knew who this person was without even guessing. It was the owner of the Yueyang Palace, the Yueyang King. Otherwise, who else could have such majesty in such a big palace? But Zhang Yang will not be afraid of him, because Moon Sun King's strength comes from his army, and his own strength seems to be average, so Zhang Yang doesn't feel anything special or strange. If it had to be counted, it would not even be as good as Zhou Wensheng in the mercenary union that I saw in Qingshan town before. Do you know what is the purpose of coming to you this time? Yueyang King continued to ask. Princess Yueyang didn't speak when King Yueyang was talking. Maybe it was because she was afraid of King Yueyang's threat, or maybe it was the rules here. But Zhang Yang is not a member of Yueyang Palace, so naturally he doesn't care about some of the rules here, and he still casually said, "I don't know. If there is anything else, I don't want to know." 07. Zhang Yang didn't like the condescending attitude of King Yueyang this time, because he was a very strange person. He was either his friend or his enemy, yin and yang, condescending. He didn't like it very much. King Yueyang seemed to have felt this too, so he calmed down a bit and said, "You don't want to take such a recent photo. This time I mainly want to discuss with you about Princess Yueyang." It is indeed difficult for King Yueyang to change his way of speaking in a short period of time. After all, he is a king, and he usually speaks like this. If he has to be humbled, it will be more difficult. But because he knew Zhang Yang's strength, he was not as arrogant as he was to others, but said it plainly. Zhang Yang felt better, and asked with a smile on his face, "What's the matter?" This point Zhang Yang saw in his eyes, and he was actually happy to hear it because it shows that the Yang Lord still attaches great importance to him. It's not on the agenda to care about his feelings and completely ignore the state. King Yueyang continued, "After half a month, there will be a grand event where several royal families will unite. I hope you can take part in it with Princess Yueyang instead of me, and win the first place. Is there a chance?" In fact, King Yueyang has always been suffering from his lack of strength, so every time there is a competition between several royal families, Yueyang Palace can't get the first place. The other Starfire Palace and Qingxi Palace are very powerful. Not only the king's strength is powerful, but also the consort's and the princess's strength are incomparable. This made King Yueyang very uncomfortable, but this time, Princess Yueyang said that Zhang Yang is very powerful, so King Yueyang felt that he had a chance to win the championship this time. That's why he rushed Zhang Yang over in a hurry to discuss this matter, otherwise, by then, it would be too late. Because after today, it is time to sign up, and it cannot be overdue. After listening to King Yueyang's words, Zhang Yang immediately understood that feelings are just such a small matter, and he immediately agreed. "Okay, no problem, it's on me." Zhang Yang was full of confidence, and he didn't pay attention to the competition among these peers, so Zhang Yang agreed immediately. After all, there is no time conflict. If there is a violation in this respect, then Zhang Yang will not agree. After all, Zhang Yang has his own plan when doing things, and he will not easily follow other people's arrangements. "Very good, I will assist you," Yueyang King said with a big smile. He admired Zhang Yang's self-confidence, so he decided to give some of the resources of Yueyang Palace to Zhang Yang and Princess Yueyang. After all, he is such a precious daughter, maybe Zhang Yang will inherit his throne in the future. Princess Yueyang is also willing to be happy, her strength has improved a lot, so she is also very looking forward to this grand meeting between several kings, which makes her gear up and prepare to do a good job. After Zhang Yang dismissed King Yueyang, he turned to look at Princess Yueyang with a displeased expression. "Why haven't you been exercising for the past 2 days? Do you know that if the process is delayed, problems will easily occur at that time of?" Zhang Yang is still very angry about this point. After all, it is still difficult to grasp the balance between the dark attribute and the space power. Every training of Wang Yuxi and Princess Yueyang has been carefully calculated by Zhang Yang. If something goes wrong at that time, all previous efforts will be for naught. Princess Yueyang stuck out her tongue mischievously, and then said coquettishly, "I'm sorry, my father won't let me go out if he calls me here. She is lonely." The relationship between Princess Yueyang and Zhang Yang or Wang Yuxi has reached a very close level now, and there is no previous unfamiliarity, so it seems that the conversation between the two is like flirting and cursing. But Zhang Yang was still very angry, but he didn't say anything more. After Yueyang King agreed, Zhang Yang immediately took Princess Yueyang away and returned to the forest where Wang Yuxi was. In the past few days, he was no longer there. The energy in Wang Yuxi's body was very stable, and there was even a faint tendency to break through, which made Zhang Yang very happy. Of course, it is also because the attributes of Wang Yuxi do not need to be changed, as long as they are absorbed by the energy released by Zhang Yang, which can be said to be relatively easy. But Princess Yueyang's is more complicated. She not only needs to empty the water-type magic energy in her body, but also absorbs the ice-type magic energy released by Wang Yushi from time to time. It's difficult. Zhang Yang, big brother, you're back. Wang Yushi stopped what she was doing, and rushed up to hug Princess Yueyang. How are you? You're fine. From Wang Yushi's eyes, it can be seen that she really cares about Princess Yin Yang. After all, this is a simple little girl who has never experienced anything in the world. Seeing this scene, Zhang Yang felt warm in his heart. It seems that there is really no wrong person to train Wang Yushi. If Wang Yushi can always follow her in the future, it must be very good. I'm fine, I'm worrying you. Princess Yueyang said with a smile, then kissed Wang Yushi, and then said, I'm going to train now, you have to try your best to cooperate with me these few days. Princess Yueyang must strive to completely transform her energy within this half-month. And Wang Yushi agreed almost without thinking about it, because her strength has grown very fast, and now it's time to temper it. Chapter 307. Revenge in Progress. Zhang Yang can only spend some time to help Princess Yueyang arrange some energy that is easy to absorb, but this time, Zhang Yang did not add his own energy, but completely used Wang Yushi's ice energy. Because Princess Yueyang's water magic has almost been emptied, and now she just needs to wait for the transformation. Fortunately, Zhang Yang helped Princess Yueyang lay a good foundation before, so the transformation was so easy, but after all, it was the first time Zhang Yang used this magic, and he couldn't control the range at all. What should I do now? Princess Yueyang finished releasing the water magic in her body, and then came to Zhang Yang's side and asked. After releasing this time, Princess Yueyang felt that she could gradually sense the energy of the ice magic, because when she just finished speaking, she was already able to absorb the magic energy of the ice element by herself. This made Princess Yueyang extremely excited, because before, it was Zhang Yang who provided him with a conversion medium, and Princess Yueyang was able to absorb the magical energy of the ice system, but it is not on the agenda now. Very good, that's it, keep it up. Zhang Yang nodded with a smile. It seems that not only Wang Yushi, but also Princess Yueyang's comprehension ability is very strong. If it continues like this, after a few days, the water magic in Princess Yueyang's body will be completely replaced with ice magic, and then she will be able to release that dark magic and completely change her attributes. After doing this, Zhang Yang finally felt relieved. It seems that the two people should be fine. Since he is not worried about this aspect, then Zhang Yang has to deal with his own affairs. Black Magic Circle. Although the time hadn't come yet, Zhang Yang still went out to find Christian Rin. After all, this matter had to be done in advance. Because the two of them have black magic energy that can be combined for sensing, Zhang Yang found Christian Rin in an open space outside the Royal Magic City without any effort. The enemy you mentioned last time, do you know his position now? Zhang Yang directly entered the topic. Zhang Yang was never procrastinating. Although he wanted Christian Rin, he didn't like this person very much. In contrast, Nangong Zuntian still feels comfortable. Christian Rin said, I can locate him. If you are ready, we can go now. Christian Rin didn't expect Zhang Yang to be so fast. Ever since he parted with Zhang Yang last time, Christian Rin has been very excited, because after so long, he can finally seek revenge from him. Let's go, share your location information with me using black magic. Zhang Yang said. Ever since he experienced black magic, Zhang Yang has been lamenting the magic of black magic. This power can be said to be as powerful as space magic. Because black magic is not only very powerful in attack, but also has a variety of auxiliary functions. The sub-item of this coordinate is a more practical one in black magic. The required information can be transmitted to each other through two homologous black magic media. Afterwards, under the guidance of Christian Rin, the two left the Royal Magic City. At this time, there are still 2 days before the exam of the Royal Academy of Magic, so Zhang Yang has plenty of time to complete this matter. But the distance is indeed a bit far, and Christian Zhang Yang cannot use the space jump to go directly. After all, what Christian Rin provided was not an exact location, but an approximate coordinate. When the time comes, he will still be needed to guide the direction. By the way, is your Western black magic really that strong? Zhang Yang couldn't help asking. The journey was very boring, so Zhang Yang started chatting with Christian Rin casually, because he was really interested in black magic, so he took advantage of this time to have a good chat. I had a little chat with Nangong Zuntian last time, but Zhang Yang didn't have any useful gains. But this time it was different. Christian Rin was caught, and Zhang Yang was 10 o'clock. Christian Rin is now asking Zhang Yang, so he immediately replied, our Western black magic is good at attacking, and it is a very evil attack. After Christian Rin finished speaking, he continued, Nangong Zuntian and the others master the black magic of the East, which is much weaker in comparison, but their control over power is more precise. It is indeed what Christian Rin said, although Eastern magic is not as strong as Western black magic, but fortunately, it does not need to consume a lot of life force. Unlike those in the West, a slightly stronger black magic can almost drain the vitality of the user. In comparison, the Eastern ones are more suitable for cultivation. And those who kill wantonly, generally speaking, are practicing Western black magic. Take Nangong Zuntian for example, he basically doesn't kill people very much, because he doesn't have a great demand for this aspect, and only occasionally needs a little life energy to supplement what he lacks. Oh, that's right, then why did you come here from the West? Zhang Yang asked again. This was the first time Zhang Yang asked Christian Rin, because as far as he knew, the West was far away from here, and there was no need to travel long distances to come to this place with strict control. When Christian Rin heard this question, he became silent, as if he didn't want to answer it very much. This may be the scar in his heart. Seeing Christian Rin like this, Zhang Yang didn't ask any more questions. This question might indeed be a bit difficult to answer. But sooner or later, Zhang Yang will have to understand things in the West. After all, sooner or later, he has to go and have a look. Since the black magic over there is so strong, what does normal magic look like? Zhang Yang has kept this point in his heart, and he will think about it later when his strength increases. Because Christian Rin is a student of black magic, his body absorbs energy relatively well. In the second half of the journey, Zhang Yang used space jumps for a short distance to take him to the end of the journey quickly. This made Christian Rin very surprised, because he had never seen such magic before, and at the same time, he was more confident in Zhang Yang's strength. It seemed that there was hope for this revenge. This time, I must take that cheat book, and see if that B***** D dares to be so arrogant with me. Chapter 308 Strong. Christian Rin's obsession with this cheat book was very high, because he and that enemy were in the same school at the time, and gradually learned black magic under the guidance of a master. In the West at that time, black magic was actually not forbidden, because the civilization there was civilized, so no one would boycott it. Although they knew that this kind of magic had a lot of comparability, many people would learn from it. Leaving aside the character of Christian Rin, his friend was indeed the one who went too far in the matter of cheat books. On the way, Zhang Yang learned about the secret behind this, probably because Christian Rin had a good talent. At that time, their master liked him very much, so he planned to teach him all the secrets of his life. However, Christian Rin's enemy was also his fellow disciple at the time. He was extremely jealous. After learning about this incident, he took pains to set up a bureau to slander and spread rumors about Christian Rin. In the end, Christian Rin was kicked out of the school by his master, not to mention cheats, even black magic could no longer be learned. Although studying magic in the West is not looked down upon. But a person who betrayed his master must be ashamed by everyone. 940. At that time, Christian Rin, who couldn't stand the grievance, fled from the West, and gradually moved closer to the East. Not long after that, he heard that his fellow disciple at that time actually persecuted his master. And he also took away the secret book. After this happened, he couldn't stay in the West any longer. He simply followed Christian Rin's footsteps and came to the East. At first, Christian Rin was very angry when he got the news. Although he studied black magic, he was still very strict in respecting teachers. So almost at the first moment, he planned to go to that person to fight desperately, but unfortunately, that person studied black magic quite well, and Christian Rin couldn't beat him. After going back and forth, every time Christian Rin went to find him, he would be beaten to death. He almost lost his name, and after that, Christian Rin began to find some allies to deal with this shameless person, and Nangong Zuntian was such a person. They went to deal with that person together from the beginning. AHBB. Although this time it was 2 against 1 in terms of strength, that person was able to escape from the hands of Christian Rin and Nangong Zuntian every time because he had obtained the cheat book. And the black magic he used was this escape formation, which made Christian Rin very annoyed. He can't beat it by himself, and if 2 people fight it, he can't catch it, which can be said to be very uncomfortable. As time passed, Christian Rin didn't go to him very often. After all, there was no particularly good way. But this time is different. With Zhang Yang's presence, no matter how arrogant this person is, he probably won't be able to escape. It's here. Christian Rin stopped and said, facing a swamp in front of him. Christian Rin has always hated this person very much, so he figured out his way of life, because that black magic needs to use external objects to assist in its operation when its strength is not enough. And the swamp is where the best formation is located, and the first battle between the 2 of them took place here. Huh, are you sure? Zhang Yang frowned. When he just came here, he sensed several very powerful auras. Of course, one of them might be Christian Rin's enemy, but the other auras are also in similar positions. Can Christian Rin lie to himself? After thinking about it, Zhang Yang looked back. Are you really sure that your enemy is here? Christian Rin scratched his head in doubt. That's right, I left a dark mark on his body before, and this is where it was displayed. Didn't I share it with you? Christian Rin didn't know what Zhang Yang was afraid of, but he suddenly had an ominous feeling, because he saw people who were powerful towards Zhang Yang also panicked. Difficult. Zhang Yang muttered to himself. If, as Christian Rin said, there are his enemies here, then it seems that this trip is really in vain. Because among the several breaths that Zhang Yang sensed, 2 of them were obviously not weaker than him, which made him very strange. Although this place is relatively remote, it is not far from the Royal Magic City. With such a few very capable people, why is there no one to take care of it? Strange. Really very strange. How about we go back? Christian Rin said. He suddenly felt that things were not as simple as he thought. He initially estimated that Zhang Yang's strength should be higher than that of a magister, so since it can make Zhang Yang feel so tricky, there must be danger. At least he definitely couldn't handle it, so Christian Rin chose to back down. Although he really wanted revenge, his own life was more important in comparison. In the depths of this swamp, there are at least 4 auras. I can be sure that one of them is your enemy, but the other 3 are all very strong. Zhang Yang squinted his eyes to look inside, and then said, "That's right, those three are much stronger than you." That's true, Zhang Yang didn't mean to be alarmist, so here, he chose to discuss with Christian Rin. If there was a fight, he didn't know if he could take care of him. After all, it will be difficult for a person to deal with three people who are about the same level. Although Zhang Yang is not afraid of them, he still considers Christian Rin's safety. After all, he was Nangong Zuntian's teammate, so he couldn't just come out and kill him. But Zhang Yang won't back down either. He finally came here once. If he didn't do anything and went back, it would be too embarrassing. Leaving this aside, the time wasted in it made Zhang Yang very uncomfortable, so the fight must be done. But you have to think about how to fight, and you can't let Christian Rin's life be in danger. This needs to be considered more. Christian Rin thought for a long time before he said, "I'm really not very good at it, why don't you use me as a bait?" Chapter 309 Weak, Pitiful and Helpless. Zhang Yang originally had other plans, but after Christian Rin finished speaking, he suddenly had another idea in his mind, and then formulated a plan according to this idea. But this matter is not so easy to do. First of all, the cooperation of the two people must be very close. Otherwise, if there is a mistake, everyone's life will be in danger. Zhang Yang is fine, he has the power of space after all, and can escape in times of danger, but Christian Rin is miserable, and I am afraid he will die here. It's okay, but it's a bit inconvenient. Zhang Yang said. Christian Rin frowned slightly. That's true, I'm in some danger, but I'm not afraid, since you have already risked your life to accompany me, I can't be afraid of death either. It was only at this time that Christian Rin understood why Nangong Zuntian treated Zhang Yang so well. After all, he was a person who valued love and righteousness, so he was able to sacrifice his name to accompany him at such a time. At this moment, Christian Rin's attitude towards Zhang Yang has quietly changed. He who was a bit hostile to Zhang Yang before, now really treats Zhang Chong as a friend. And their black magicians have always been the existence that everyone shouts and beats, and there are too few people who can really become their friends. This is like a homeless man who finally found his own home and had his own friends to eat, drink and sleep with, which made Christian Rin's cold heart a little warmer. In that case, it's up to you later. Zhang Yang said lightly. He didn't think as much as Christian Rin thought. After all, Zhang Yang's psychology still wanted the cheat book, but he couldn't find a way. Now that he has a goal, he is naturally unwilling to give up so easily. However, if Christian Rin's life is in danger, he still has to be patient. Although Zhang Yang can become a murderous devil, as a person, he still has to stick to his own morality. Yes, you can't make others look down on you. Okay, then I'll go over there to ambush and prepare slowly. Christian Rin headed towards the swamp while speaking, and then released black magic to hide in a place quietly waiting for the reality. Because it is not the best thing for Zhang Yang to make a move, let alone how many enemies there are, just the two powerful ones already make Zhang Yang feel a little difficult, so he can't act rashly, but through Christian Rin's ambush, trying to defeat them one by one. Zhang Yang's idea is this, he has the power of space, and Christian Rin has powerful black magic, the two of them can wait for the people inside to disperse, and then combine the power of space with black magic, sending the breath of Christian Rin over there. At that time, if someone discovers Christian Rin's hiding place, they will definitely be the first to come over. At that time, the winning rate between the two of them will be much higher. But this method also has a disadvantage, that is, if Zhang Yang did not arrive at the scene in time, Christian Rin's life might be in danger, meaning the two of them are very strong. And their method cannot accurately determine the location to be sent to push. That is to say, it is random. Since it is so, it is possible whoever appears first among the four people. Zhang Yang only prayed that the first one to come out at that time would be the weakest or the strongest, and that would be easy to solve. He was afraid that the two strongest would unite, otherwise he would be very sure. After a while, Christian Rin had completely confirmed his position, and then released his position through black magic. On the other hand, Zhang Yang stayed where he was, waiting for someone who might come to this place later, and waited in advance. Maybe he will be the first to meet someone, not Christian Rin. Everything is possible. Time passed quickly, and the person inside who received the Dao signal did not notify others. After all, Christian Rin's aura was well hidden by him. From outsiders' perspective, he was a very weak person, so he did not exist. Get someone to work it out together. 0. Seeking flowers. At this time, Zhang Yang suddenly laughed, and things really happened according to the original expectation. This person is the weakest one, and he is rather stupid, so he followed Zhang Yang's route. That's okay. Christian Rin will be fine. Next, it's Zhang Yang's showtime. When no one arrived, Zhang Yang appeared in front of him, holding a pitch-black magic ball in his hand. This is the ripple that Zhang Nan Zhang Shiwei once taught him in the dark magic. Shadow reincarnation. The attack is very powerful, and can even make people instantly wiped out. All the black magicians who came out were stunned. He never thought that he would meet his peers in this kind of place, and it seemed that this peer was very powerful, so what should he do? Do he have a chance to run away? 0.0. Brother, don't do anything, just speak up. The black mage trembled in fright, his strength was indeed the weakest, and even Zhang Yang had never seen such a weak black mage. It doesn't matter if you don't kill you, give me a reason. Zhang Yang stopped the steps in his hand and said with some teasing. He suddenly didn't want to do it directly, after all, this person was too weak, even if he tried his best, he couldn't escape from his hands. And I not only know space magic, but also black magic, so this person can't even transmit information, and there is no such thing as delaying time for teammates to come over. So Zhang Yang decided to chat with him for a while. I can give you all my valuables. The black magician said seriously. He is very afraid of death, especially after learning black magic. He knows that this kind of magic will absorb people's vitality, surrender. Not to mention anything else, a good death is always better than a bad life. As a person who is afraid of death, his choice is to hand over his most precious thing. Although he didn't actually have any treasures, but when he said this, when others heard it, he was so sincere that people couldn't bear to kill him again. Chapter 310. Black Magister. Christian Rin was still wondering why Zhang Yang hasn't seen any movement for a long time. Could it be that his position was exposed, which led to this situation? How could Christian Rin know that Zhang Yang was playing now? Tell me, is there any treasure that I can let you go? Zhang Yang said with a smile. At this time, the black magician was a little hesitant. After all, it has a lot of treasures. Although he is very weak, he is a person who loves collecting no matter what. In his previous life, collecting treasures became the most important thing. So there are some valuable things, they are still there. If they are handed over to Zhang Yang here, then he will lose too much. But he is not stupid. As an experienced black magician, seeing a powerful person like Zhang Yang, 370, if he doesn't treat him sincerely, he must be the one who will die. Heavenly fire. A very magical flame. The black magician shouted loudly. Yes, he knows a magical flame. The temperature of that flame is very high, even higher than magma. And it seems to have the power of life, which is very magical. But that kind of flame is not easy to obtain. The black magician also wanted to obtain this kind of magical and powerful flame at the beginning, but when he touched the flame, he was bounced away. This kind of speed and power when bouncing away is something this black magic has never seen before, because his strength is very weak, so there is no good way to face this situation. And he didn't want to tell others this secret, so he had to hide it in his heart. This time he met Zhang Yang, and when his life was in danger, he had to tell this secret that had been hidden for a long time. Don't lie to me, what's the use of that kind of thing? Zhang Yang snorted. What kind of strange fire? He doesn't care about that kind of thing. Actually, it's a strange fire. Its real name should be called the Fire of Chaos. The black magician said in surprise. Zhang Yang, who had heard that it was a different fire, was not interested at all. After all, that kind of thing didn't have any real effect on him. But the black magician suddenly said another name, which shocked Zhang Yang very much. The Fire of Chaos, that is an attribute treasure related to the power of chaos. Logically speaking, this kind of thing cannot exist in this world, because whether it is time, space, or the power of chaos, all exist on higher level continents. If Zhang Yang can obtain the Fire of Chaos, then he will have a foundation for understanding the power of chaos, and if his power of space reaches a bottleneck, he will have a good substitute. The current Zhang Yang is actually very proficient in mastering the power of space. In the limited time, there should be no significant increase. So Zhang Yang actually has a worry. If his ability stagnates by then, it will be very ed up. However, when he was in Qingshan town, President Rhodes took him to see the Green Mountain. There is a huge restriction inside the Green Mountain. With the power of space, Zhang Yang can clearly sense the restriction, which should be the result of time magic. Location. It's just that at that time he didn't have anything to confirm his statement. But now that the black magician talked about the Fire of Chaos, Zhang Yang's perception of that place became clearer. Because the power of chaos, the power of space and the power of time are mutually inductive. But now Zhang Yang got the coordinates of these locations, but it didn't work. Because he must first cultivate the power of a basic attribute to ultimate, and then he can switch to the second. Okay, I don't need to kill you. Zhang Yang waved his hand, and then continued, you have to pretend to be dead. Although the current Zhang Yang didn't use the flame of chaos, he still planned to save the life of the black mage. You will be called Dahe from now on. Zhang Yang had a sudden thought, and then said, as long as you follow me, I will guarantee that your life will be safe and prosperous. Because Zhang Yang already has a little black, which is a spirit beast with dual attributes of thunder and wind. But one thing is very helpless, Zhang Yang can't actually chat with Xiao He too much. Moreover, Xiao He is a spirit beast, and some things in the human world cannot be done for him, so now Zhang Yang needs another human follower. Thank you boss, thank you boss. Dahe nodded, and then used the most useless kind of black magic, pretending to be dead. This is indeed the case, the average black magician would not choose to practice such a non-aggressive magic move. But Dahe is different, he is a person who is very afraid of death. Since he is afraid of death, he must learn some life-saving moves. This skill of pretending to be dead has allowed him to escape several waves of siege. Now that one person has been dealt with, Christian Rin is allowed to start the second wave of ambushes, but this time it is different, since one of the weakest tactics has been dealt with, a little change will take place. Since the weakest one has been removed, the other two stronger ones must now be dealt with. This time Zhang Yang was about to go out in person. When Christian Rin shared his location information, as expected, someone immediately received the information. Its speed was very fast, much faster than Dahe. Almost when Zhang Yang arrived at the location, that person had already arrived at the scene. Who are you? Said the formidable black magician. Zhang Yang estimated that this black mage should be at the magister level, so its correct name should be Black Magister. The one who wants to kill you. Zhang Yang nodded 3.5 and said nothing else. To deal with the little black Zhang Yang, it is natural to use water, but the strength of the Black Magister in front of him is very strong, so he must take it seriously. Just when the shady mentor arrived, Zhang Yang had already aroused the power of space in his body, and made a formation formed by the power of space around him. On the edge of the formation, he also specially used black magic to block the breath of the two people. After all, he needs a one-on-one environment. If the fight between the two of them alarmed the other two, and they joined the fight together, Zhang Yang's winning rate in the face of two Black Magisters is actually not that high. Although Zhang Yang is not afraid, it is always tricky. Seeing Zhang Yang's actions on the Black Demon Island, he couldn't help laughing. Why, are you planning to beat me up? Chapter 311 Mutual Unity. This black mage is very powerful, so he doesn't look down on ordinary people. But facing Zhang Yang, he was still a little worried. After all, the person in front of him completed the layout of the entire space formation almost in an instant. And this kind of exquisite control over abilities is something this black mage has never seen before. Although there are some very powerful people in this world, the magical power of Zhang Yang is something that this black mage has never heard of. Zhang Yang said lightly, if you beg for mercy now, maybe I can let you go. Yes, Zhang Yang didn't intend to kill them, except that Zhang Yang didn't intend to kill them in the first place, and he couldn't control the energy transmission after killing people temporarily. Because Zhang Yang has a master-servant contract linkage with Xiaohe, once Zhang Yang kills someone, all the magic energy on this person will be transferred to Xiaohe. 07 and Xiaohe will also use this energy to strengthen his own cultivation, if Zhang Yang kills someone easily, and this person is still a magister. Then this huge magical energy is likely to cause Xiaohe to explode and die. Zhang Yang is actually very helpless about this. After all, he hasn't studied the master-servant contract well yet. You fart, surrender. The black magic stone seemed to have heard some joke, and then sneered, if you want to hit it, don't talk nonsense. Even so, Zhang Yang still didn't intend to do anything. If there was really no other way, he would choose to get rid of the person in front of him. But after killing this person, he will immediately return to Xiaohe's side to help it recuperate. It was a very long process and very boring. So Zhang Yang tried his best to avoid killing people, and it was because of this that he accepted Dahe just now. Because he can see that Dahe's strength is very weak, maybe even inferior to Wang Yushi, but it is precisely because of this that he should need a huge amount of energy. Although Zhang Yang hadn't tried what would happen if this master-servant contract was concluded with a human being, he guessed that since it could be done with a spirit beast, it should actually be similar to a human being. Calm down, what I want is the secret book from the West, you don't have to work hard. Zhang Yang said lightly. The current Zhang Yang is adhering to the concept that problems that can be solved with words must never be done with hands. After the provocation of the number of the Black Magister, he still chooses to treat each other with courtesy. Seeing Zhang Yang's reaction, the Black Magister couldn't help but ponder. Although it may be embarrassing to initiate peace talks now, if Zhang Yang is not here for him, there is really no need to work hard. I want that cheat book too. The Black Magister's face darkened. That's right, his and Zhang Yang's goals were actually the same, both for the black magic book in the hands of Christian Rin's fellow disciple. Not only him, but also another powerful Black Magister. However, because they knew each other before, they didn't fight each other as soon as they met. But there was also a bit of disharmony during the conversation, and even almost shot. Fortunately, the four of them got it under control later, and then they all separated, each calmed down. Just at this time, Dahe met Zhang Yang first, and then the Black Magister. I have to say that their luck is really bad. I only need a little about the black magic circle in that cheat book, and the rest can belong to you. Zhang Yang shrugged and said. Because he does not need other black magic, although he can use the energy of other attributes now, he cannot be a grandmaster. Because once he starts to delve into spells of other attributes, his original space power will be much weaker. This is intolerable to Zhang Yang, because the current power of space is equivalent to his lifeblood. And black magic is a very powerful spell, Zhang Yang didn't intend to practice it. He just wanted this kind of magic to be an auxiliary function. After all, Wang Yushi and Princess Yueyang couldn't be carried in the space jump. After all, the power of space is still very powerful for normal people. If you are not careful, your soul may be torn apart. If you say that, then we still have room for discussion. The Black Magister continued calmly, then let's get to know each other first. My name is Cao Zisho, a second-level Black Magister. When talking about this, Cao Zisho looked arrogant. After all, he is not too old. From the outside, it looks like he is about 40 years old at most, and at this time he already possesses this kind of strength, which is really very powerful. Even Zhang Yang couldn't help admiring, because in the Magicians Association in Qingshan Town, President Rhodes was already in his 60s, but he was still only a magician. From here we can see the tyranny of black magic. Hi, my name is Zhang Yang. Zhang Yang also introduced himself briefly. Then he took the initiative to say, I really only want the part about the formation, as for the rest, I don't want it, but there is another person who is different, I called him out. During the conversation, Zhang Yang called Christian Rin who was hiding in the corner, because he also had a share in this cheat book, so Zhang Yang called him out to express his opinion. You must have heard what 737 said just now. Tell me now, Zhang Yang asked Christian Rin. Christian Rin was silent for a while, and then looked at Cao Zisho. Although his eyes were a little dodgy, he still said softly, I just want to take revenge. As for the cheat book, you can take it. In this way, both Zhang Yang and Cao Zisho breathed a sigh of relief. Since Christian Rin has no objections, they can join forces. How? Now you are relieved, Zhang Yang said. Cao Zisho nodded lightly, and then turned his gaze to Christian Rin. I know him. Cao Zisho continued. In fact, I admire this man very much. I remember that he escaped from me twice. It was only at this time that Zhang Yang realized that Christian Rin had indeed fought against them before. Then I didn't fight, I could only run away. Since that's the case, then it's decided, Zhang Yang said at this time. But suddenly Cao Zisho said, don't worry, you just saw me now, and there is another very strong person. When Cao Zisho mentioned that person, his expression couldn't help changing. That's a sixth order black mage. Chapter 312. The bamboo basket for water. Hearing what Cao Zisho said, not only Zhang Yang but even Christian Rin were stunned. Because on this magic continent, each level is divided into 10 classes. Below the magician, the gap between these 10 classes is actually not very big, but for the magister, it seems very scary. Because of the magister, each level will be much stronger than the previous one. For example, Cao Zisho is a second level black magister now, but if the person inside is a sixth level, without any accident, he can beat 3 Cao Zisho. This is just a basic estimate, and it doesn't involve black magic, which is a relatively buggy thing. So upon hearing Cao Zisho's words, Zhang Yang was shaken again. Perhaps this matter still needs to be considered in the long term. After all, Zhang Yang is sure if he simply deals with Cao Zisho, even in a tie, he can retreat unscathed. But now he has to face a 6th level black magister, which is equivalent to facing a general type great magister. That was too scary, so Zhang Yang could only suppress his emotions temporarily. What, are you scared? Cao Zisho said calmly at this time. In fact, he is a person who is not afraid of anything, because anyone who learns black magic is like this. Only with the aura of being the only one in the sky and the earth in his heart, can he truly exert the power of black magic. A cowardly person like Dahe can learn spells, such as feigning death and so on. How is that possible? I'm just thinking about how to deal with him, Zhang Yang said. He was indeed thinking a bit one-sidedly before, because no matter what, he was not facing the 6th level black mage alone. He was surrounded by Dahe, Cao Zisho, and Christian Rin. If 4 people fight one, if they still can't beat, then there is really nothing to say. Let's go find him now. At this moment, Zhang Yang let go of the grudge in his heart, and rushed into the swamp with everyone. Because Dahe and Cao Zisho were leading the way, Zhang Yang did not release his spatial perception this time, because it might disturb the 6th stage black magister. And with the 2 of them leading the way, it is very likely that they will not startle the enemy. Their first goal is to catch Christian Rin's fellow disciple first. The inside of the swamp is actually relatively empty, which may also be the environment they deliberately created. You guys wait here first, I'll go in and negotiate, Princess Cao Zisho Yueyang said at this time. After speaking, he walked in alone without Dahe. Zhang Yang, I always feel that this person is a bit strange. He is not going to betray us, is he? Christian Rin raised his question at this time. It is indeed normal for him to think this way, because now, Cao Zisho has the right to choose whether he is following Zhang Yang or the 6th level black mage inside. Whoever he follows will have a better chance of winning, so Cao Zisho can choose at this time, and he has the final choice. No, don't worry. Zhang Yang squinted his eyes and looked at Cao Zisho's back, not worried. Because judging from the previous situation, Cao Zisho, Dahe and the 2 people inside did not reach a consensus to some extent. Otherwise, at this time, Cao Zisho has already obtained the secret book, and he would not come out to discuss with Zhang Yang how to obtain it. That being the case, it shows that the few of them are actually not friends, but gathered together because of some kind of interests. Dahe, let me ask you a question. Zhang Yang turned his face and said to Dahe who had just surrendered. Have you guys just known each other not long ago? In order to confirm this inference, Zhang Yang wanted to find out the situation from his aunt. If this was the case, then he would not have to worry that Cao Zisho would betray him at this time. Dahe humbly said, Boss Zhang Yang, you are too powerful, how do you know? We have only just met, like I was the last to come in, it seems to be Cao Zisho before, it seems to be the 6th order magister. At this time, Dahe's attitude towards Zhang Yang was simply scornful. He didn't expect that the person in front of him could guess so accurately when he didn't know anything. The only possibility is that this person's thinking logic ability is extremely sensitive, and his magical ability is also very strong. Even Cao Zisho has to take Zhang Yang's strength into consideration. It can be seen that this person is definitely a leader and boss worth following. Having reached such a conclusion, Dahe lowered his head, and said very reverently, from now on, I, Dahe, will follow your example, Boss Zhang Yang. It is true that Dahe is actually not very powerful, but he is very afraid of death, and at the same time has a very keen perception. He knows who is most important to follow and knows who to follow to live a more nourishing life. Obviously choosing Zhang Yang was the most important decision he made in his life, bar none. Christian Rin was also a little puzzled at this time, is Zhang Yang's charm really that great? Thinking about how he planned to kill Zhang Yang when he met him for the first time. I'm really ashamed. They didn't wait outside for long, because Cao Zisho came out in less than 2 minutes with a dead body in his hand. Christian Rin recognized that person at the first sight. He was her fellow disciple and his lifelong enemy. How did he die? K. Qian Zhao Christian Rin was very puzzled, because the cheats in this person's hands are very important, and the reason why he can live forever is also because only he has the way to open this cheat book. Cao Zisho shook his head helplessly, pointed at the man's body. We are late, that man has already got the cheat book and left. It seems that he has noticed us a long time ago, so when we were chatting outside, he took the opportunity to attack inside, and took the cheat book, and killed this person. Although Cao Zisho was very helpless at this time, he had no choice. After all, the strength of this 6th level black mage was really terrifying. Even if they were at the same level, Cao Zisho didn't dare to make bad words in front of the black magister. On the contrary, Christian Rin slapped his thigh angrily at this time. It's really uncomfortable. I thought it was easy to do.